Chapter 1462 Who's Scamming Who? However, Su Long was unmoved. He even sneered and said, Junior brother Lu Ming, you've just entered Dragon God Valley. Although you're talented, you don't have enough combat experience. You need more training. We'll leave the Feng family head to you. We'll support you. There's indeed a problem. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and there was a cold glint in his eyes. He originally thought that Duan Yen and Fu Xing had problems, but now it seemed that Su Long also had problems. In the beginning, Su Long had hidden his cultivation level and had ulterior motives. Now, he even asked Lu Ming to deal with the Feng family head alone. He was clearly trying to kill Lu Ming with a borrowed knife and use the Feng family head to deal with Lu Ming. The Feng family head naturally noticed the problem between Lu Ming and the rest. He seized the opportunity and launched a storm of attacks on Lu Ming. He still had a chance to kill Lu Ming. Senior brothers, I can't hold on any longer. Lu Ming shouted. He exchanged a blow with the Feng family head and deliberately retreated to Su Long and the others. Ding-ling-ling. The Feng family master chased after Lu Ming. The soul-shaking bell vibrated and invisible waves enveloped Su Long and the other two. Detestable. Su Long and the other two roared in their hearts, but they had no choice but to resist. Thank you for your help, senior brothers. Lu Ming sneered coldly, causing Su Long and the other two to turn pale. Ding-ling-ling. The sound of the bell made Su Long and the other two's faces turn pale. It was obvious that their spiritual gods had been attacked and were injured. Senior brother Su Long, we must take him down as soon as possible. Duan Yen said. If this continued, their souls would suffer a lot of injuries. Physical injuries were easy to recover, but soul injuries were hard to recover. The price of spirit herbs that could recover the soul was shockingly high. Attack with all your might. Su Long said. Buzz! 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 A bright sword light bloomed from Su Long's hand and shot toward the Feng family master. Duan Yen and Fu Xing fully cooperated with Su Long. At this time, Lu Ming deliberately wandered around the Feng family head and occasionally attacked. Junior brother Lu Ming. What are you doing? Why aren't you attacking with all your might and capturing this person? Su Long shouted. I can't. Just now, I blocked it alone and my vitality was greatly damaged. My spirit is weak and I don't have any strength left. I need to recover slowly. Lu Ming was making up nonsense. Su Long's expression turned ugly. He knew that Lu Ming was taking revenge for not attacking them earlier. If Lu Ming did not put in any effort, Su Long and the other two could not take down the Feng family head at once. As time passed, their faces turned paler and paler. It was obvious that their souls were severely injured. This kind of soul injury would take a few years to heal. Damn it! Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing roared in their hearts. It was all Lu Ming's fault. If Lu Ming had cooperated with them and attacked with all his might, he would have taken down the Feng family's family head long ago. How could their souls be injured? In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. It's almost time. The corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. Black wings suddenly appeared on his back and he slashed horizontally. Bang! The black wing was a holy weapon. How could the Feng family head resist it? He was swept away by the black wing. He fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Buzz! Lu Ming's figure flashed and he appeared in front of the Feng family head. He slapped the Feng family head 9 times in a row, sealing his essential core. The Feng family head immediately fell to the ground. Holy weapon! Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing's eyes revealed fear. Lu Ming, why didn't you use your holy weapon earlier? Duan Yen glared at Lu Ming and shouted. Do you think you can use a saint weapon just because you want to? It consumes a lot of true essence. I used too much true essence to resist the Feng family head just now, so I've only recovered a little. Lu Ming casually explained. However, Lu Ming's eyes were bright and his breathing was stable. He did not look like he was running out of essential core. He was clearly lying. However, they did not help Lu Ming just now. They could not refute Lu Ming's words and could not voice their grievances. A cold light flashed in the depths of Su Long's eyes. Then he smiled and said, I believe that junior brother Lu Ming has given it his all. Now that the Feng family head has been captured, let's ask him why he wants to kill us. Then, they walked to the Feng family head. Old man, tell me, why do you want to kill us? If you don't tell me the truth, I'll skin you alive and make you beg for death. Duan Yen said ruthlessly, her eyes full of resentment. Her soul had been injured by the Feng family head, and it would take a few years to recover. She really wanted to skin the Feng family head alive. If you set up everything and everything is lost, I'll say it, I'll confess everything. The Feng family head sighed, looking a little down and out. Everything starts from an ancient ruin that I accidentally discovered. The Feng family head sighed again. An ancient ruin? The eyes of Su Long, Duan Yen, and the others suddenly lit up. Usually, when it came to ancient ruins, there was a high chance that treasures would appear, and it would be a great opportunity. That's right. When I was in the Six Kong Mountain, I accidentally stumbled into an ancient cave abode and obtained a cultivation technique from there. It requires the blood and soul of others to cultivate, and my cultivation can improve by leaps and bounds. The Feng family head said. No wonder your cultivation is different from the records. You've reached LV4 Martial Royal Realm. Su Long said, obviously believing him. That's right, I've cultivated that cultivation technique. Furthermore, according to the records in that cultivation technique, the younger a heaven's favorite is, the more effective their blood and soul will be, and the faster their cultivation will improve. The Feng family head said. So, you plan to attract the disciples of Dragon God Valley to kill you and use their blood and souls to cultivate. Su Long said. Not bad. The Feng family head nodded. How dare you? Aren't you afraid that your entire clan will be killed? Duan Yen berated. Ha ha ha, if my plan had succeeded, I would have killed all of you and my cultivation would have improved greatly. By then, I would have taken all the treasures in the ancient ruins and left the Tsong region. The Yuan continent is so vast. How could the Dragon God Valley find us? It's a pity that we failed at the last step and were defeated by a first-level martial emperor. The Feng family laughed. You're saying that there are more treasures in the ancient ruins? Duan Yen caught on to the Feng family head's words. Her eyes filled with greed. It was the same for Su Long and Fu Xing, not bad. The Feng family head nodded. Quickly bring us there. Duan Yen said anxiously. No, unless you promise to let me go. Don't expect me to take you there. Without me, you can't find the Six Void Mountain. The Feng family head said. Humph, if you don't, I'll kill you right now. Duan Yan's eyes were cold, and a cold killing intent enveloped the Feng family head. Baz. Su Long pointed the long sword in his hand at the Feng family head's neck and said, Bring us there, or we'll die right now. If there really is an ancient ruin, I promise to let you go. You will really let me go, unless you discover the blood oath. The Feng family head said. Whoosh. Su Long's long sword shook, and a sword chi burst out, cutting off one of the Feng family master's ears. Nonsense. I'll do what I say. If you go overboard, you'll die now. Su Long's voice was cold. Chapter 1463 Falling into a trap again in the end. The Feng family head had no choice but to nod and agree to take Su Long and the others to the ancient ruins. Let's go, you point the way. Su Long said as he carried the Feng family head. To the east. The Feng family head pointed out the direction. Lu Ming and the rest rose into the air and flew in the direction pointed out by the Feng family head. They flew all the way to the depths of the Six Void Mountain. After flying for more than 100,000 miles, they finally landed in a remote canyon. They came to a cave in the depths of the canyon. This cave was indeed very well hidden. If one were to search slowly, it would not be easy to find. This ancient ruin is an ancient cave mansion. It's very big inside. I guess it's a place where a peerless expert secludes himself. The Feng family head said. Su Long's eyes flashed with greed as he said, You better be telling the truth. Otherwise, you know the consequences. I'm telling the truth. I got my bell from this cave abode. The Feng family head said. His words made Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing more convinced. That bell was indeed extremely wondrous and could harm one's soul. Such a treasure was very difficult to buy in the outside world. On the way, Su Long kept it without any hesitation. He did not even bother to ask Lu Ming, the person who had defeated the Feng family head. Lu Ming did not say a word along the way. He just followed the crowd. If you're worried, I can lead the way. My cultivation has been sealed anyway, so I can't escape. The Feng family head said. All right, you lead the way. Su Long put the Feng family master down. The Feng family master immediately stepped into the cave. Su Long, Duan Yen, and Fu Xing quickly followed, as if they were afraid that the treasure inside would be taken by others. Lu Ming was the last to enter. After entering the cave, there was a narrow passage. After going in for about a few hundred meters, they saw a faint light. After walking through the passage, the front suddenly opened up. It was a huge underground cave. There were gemstones on the surrounding walls, which emitted a faint radiance. The Feng family head revealed a sinister smile on his face as he suddenly strode forward and knelt down. Your subordinate greets Elder Mo Hun. The Feng family head repeatedly kowtowed to a figure. A figure. Lu Ming and the few of them were shocked. And NBSP only now did they notice that there was a figure sitting cross-legged in the middle of the cave. It was an old man who looked extremely old. There were only a few strands of white hair left on his head. The skin on his face was shriveled and wrinkles piled up like mountains. There seemed to be no flesh or blood on his body. He was like a skeleton sitting there. However, his eyes were strangely dark. He stared at Lu Ming and the rest, revealing a deep desire. There was actually someone else in this ancient cave mansion. It was a skeleton-like old man. You've done well. The skeletal old man let out an ear-piercing and unpleasant smile. Many thanks for Elder's praise. This is what this subordinate should do. The Feng family head said in a flattering manner. What's going on? Lu Ming and the rest retreated slowly while Duan Yen berated them loudly. We've been tricked. Lu Ming said in a deep voice. Tricked. Duan Yen was stunned. Feng family head. His purpose is probably to bring us here. He told us to go around him before, so he brought us here. It was all an act. Lu Ming said. Ha boy, you're really smart. That's right, I was pretending. My purpose was to bring you here and offer you to Elder Mo Hun as a sacrifice. It would be better if I could capture you and bring you here. If I couldn't, I could trick you into coming here. The Feng family head laughed. Fake. The ancient ruins were all fake. The Feng family head's goal was to bring them here. Guys, look over there. Duan Yen suddenly pointed behind the skeletal old man, her voice trembling. Lu Ming and the rest looked over and were shocked. There was a pile of bones there. No, to be precise, it was a pile of dried corpses. It was the same after he was devoured by Lu Ming's devouring power. This person wants to use us to recover. Duan Yen said in a trembling voice. At this point, how could they not guess the other party's goal? That would be really stupid. It was obvious that the old man was injured and wanted to use them to recover. Who are you? We are the disciples of Dragon God Valley. If you kill us, the powerhouses of Dragon God Valley will not let you go. Duan Yen shouted. Dragon God Valley? I don't know how many I killed 80,000 years ago. The skeletal old man sneered. His words made Su Long feel like he had fallen into an ice cellar. 80,000 years ago, this old man had lived for at least 80,000 years. It was impossible for a martial emperor to live that long. This meant that the old man was a Saint stage powerhouse. They had actually encountered a Saint realm expert. Let's go. Duan Yen and Fu Xing turned around and ran. Die. The skeletal old man suddenly shouted. Then, a shocking scene appeared. Duan Yan's and Fu Xing's bodies suddenly stiffened and stopped in the air. Then they fell down softly, without the slightest trace of vitality. The two of them were killed by the old man's shouts. They did not even see how the old man had attacked. Duan Yen and Fu Xing did not even have any injuries on them. Su Long's body trembled violently, and he broke out in a cold sweat. Boom! At this moment, a vast aura rose from the skeletal elder's body. This aura was as deep as the ocean, as if it was a world, as if it was the laws of heaven and earth. It was the aura of a sage. Plop! Su Long immediately knelt down and kowtowed like garlic. He begged, Senior, please spare me. As long as Senior can spare this junior's dog life, this junior will repay Senior's kindness even if I have to go through fire and water, even if I have to work like a cow or a horse. Even Lu Ming was a little speechless. Su Long was so scared of the skeleton elder's aura that he knelt down and begged for mercy. He did not have the dignity of a warrior at all. If you want me to spare you, that's fine. But relax your mind. I'll engrave a restriction on your soul. If you obey me completely in the future, I can spare you. The skeletal elder's aura quickly receded, and his shriveled voice continued. Su Long's face turned completely pale, and his eyes were filled with unwillingness. If the other party were to inscribe a restriction on their soul, Then they would have to completely obey the other party for the rest of their lives, becoming their slave. However, if he did not agree, the other party was a sage. Did he not see how Duan Yen and Fu Xing died with a loud shout just now? What's wrong? I'm telling you, I'm an elder of the Evil Spirit Holy Church. It's a great fortune for you to join my cult. The skeletal old man sneered. What? You're an elder of evil spirit? Hearing this, Su Long's face changed dramatically. His face was filled with endless fear, as if he had heard something extremely terrible. Chapter 1464 Evil Spirit. After hearing the skeletal elder's words, Su Long's face was filled with fear. At this moment, he kowtowed without any hesitation and said loudly, Junior is willing to join Senior and the Evil Spirit cult. The Evil Spirit Holy Church? Lu Ming frowned slightly. He had never heard of this force before, so why was Su Long so terrified when he heard this name? Su Long's fear came from the depths of his heart. It was not an act. It meant that Su Long was really terrified when he heard the name Evil Spirit. Lu Ming guessed that the Evil Spirit sect might be a big sect outside of the Azure region. Hee, at least you know what's good for you. Relax. The skeletal elder sneered. A ray of black light shot out from his brow and disappeared into Su Kong's body. Su Long's face immediately showed respect to the skeletal elder. Your subordinate Su Long will definitely die for you in the future. Kid, what about you? Why don't you relax your mind and join this old man? As long as you help this old man trick more people, this old man will definitely reward you heavily in the future. The skeletal old man said. He's willing to be your lackey, but I'm not in the mood. Lu Ming said calmly. What did you just say? Brat, you're seeking your own death. The skeletal old man coldly shouted. Hee, you don't have to scare me. From what I see, you don't have much strength left, right? Lu Ming stared at the skeletal elder and said. The skeletal old man's expression changed slightly. Boy, I'm indeed injured, but I can easily deal with a mere martial emperor. Oh really? In my opinion, it's more like a fox exploiting the tiger's might. When we first came in, you shouted and killed Duan Yen and her companion. That method should have directly destroyed their souls, and then you deliberately released the aura of the Saint Realm to frighten us. But if you really have the strength of the Sage Realm, why do you need to do this? It was too deliberate for you to release the aura of the Sage Realm. Moreover, you needed the Feng family head to lure us here. So, in my opinion, you can't use that kind of method too much, or else your injury will worsen. Also, you can't leave this place, or your injury will worsen. Am I right? Lu Ming retreated slowly and explained. The skeletal old man's gaze changed. Su Long's face also changed. Damn it. This Lu Ming knows so much. Why didn't he say it earlier? Su Long roared in his heart. If Lu Ming had told him earlier, he would not have joined the skeletal elder. He might have escaped if he had taken the risk. Little guy, you're very meticulous, but you still have to die. Su Long, kill him. The skeletal old man instructed. Su Long's expression changed. He had no confidence in dealing with Lu Ming. Elder, although this person's cultivation base is weak, but... Su Long wanted to explain. Kill him, kill. The skeletal old man coldly shouted. Su Long let out a miserable shriek as if he was suffering from endless pain. Elder, please spare my life. I will kill him now. Kill him. The skeletal old man said. Lu Ming, go to hell. In the next moment, Su Long pounced on Lu Ming with a ferocious look in his eyes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A terrifying sword radiance bloomed from Su Long's long sword and was aimed at Lu Ming's vital points. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming threw a few consecutive punches and broke Su Long's sword gleam. Lu Ming, what's the point of resisting? You're destined to die. Even if you escape back to Dragon God Valley, you'll still die. Yin Feng won't let you off. Su Long roared. You were indeed sent by Yin Feng. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. Su Long had been hiding his cultivation level. When Lu Ming and the Feng family head were fighting, he stood by and watched. Lu Ming had already suspected that Su Long wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. It seemed that it was true. I was looking for an opportunity to kill you when you're not prepared. Haha, but it's the same to kill you now. Su Long seemed to have gone crazy as he launched a storm of attacks on Lu Ming. He had already surrendered to the evil spirit elder. This matter must not be spread. Otherwise, he would die without a doubt. Therefore, Lu Ming must die. Kill. At that moment, Lu Ming's third bloodline appeared and a surge of energy surged into his body. Then, his primal chaos domain burst forth, and he used the prison-suppressing heavenly art to punch Su Long. Boom! This punch directly broke through all of Su Long's defenses. The terrifying fist force bombarded Su Long's chest. Half of his body exploded in the air and he flew far away. Apart from a few of his trump cards, this punch was almost Lu Ming's full strength. It was enough to kill a LV4 martial emperor. Su Long could not withstand it at all. After killing Su Long with a single move, Lu Ming's black wings appeared. With a flap, he dashed toward the entrance of the tunnel at top speed. Primal Chaos Domain. It's actually the Primal Chaos Domain. I didn't expect that a genius who has comprehended the Primal Chaos Domain would appear in the tiny Azure region. Kill, we must kill him. The skeletal elder's eyes were filled with killing intent, and a black light appeared on his forehead. Kill! The skeletal elder suddenly roared. A black ray of light instantly cut through the void and appeared behind Lu Ming, shooting toward him. Its speed was unbelievably fast, as if it was teleporting. Lu Ming turned pale with fright. He wanted to dodge but it was too late. The ray of light passed through the chaos realm and shot into Lu Ming's body, heading straight for the spiritual god. Clang! The ray of light landed on the spiritual god. The jade armor on the spiritual god emitted a bright light and formed a light screen, blocking the black light. Lu Ming's body only trembled slightly as he continued to rush outward at high speed. A spiritual god defensive treasure. There's actually such a rare treasure. Damn it, we can't let this person escape. The skeletal old man growled. Cracking sounds came from his body as he floated into the air. He was like a skeleton that had been sitting cross-legged for thousands of years. Elder, help me release my cultivation, and I'll help you hunt down that brat. The Feng family head called out from the side. There's no point in keeping a piece of trash like you. Dang. The skeletal old man's eyes were filled with a cold light. He opened his mouth and sucked, and a layer of black light enveloped the Feng family head. The Feng family head suddenly let out a miserable scream, and his body shriveled up at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into a dry corpse. Su Long's, Duan Yan's, and Fu Xing's corpses had also turned into mummies. Their flesh and blood essence had all been devoured by the old man. At this time, his skin had a slight luster. Kill! He shouted in a low voice and turned into a black light, rushing out of the cave in pursuit of Lu Ming. Lu Ming flew out of the cave. The energy of the air-frozen bead gushed in. He cast the wind element art and flew wildly into the distance with the black wings. However, he didn't fly very far before he heard a shocking sound behind him. A black ray of light flew over at high speed. This old man actually wants to kill me without caring about his injuries. Lu Ming's face darkened. He flew at his maximum speed. Chapter 1465 Soul Attack. Lu Ming spread his black wings, which were more than 10 meters wide. With one flap, Lu Ming turned into a black lightning bolt and streaked across the void, traveling 100 miles in an instant. This was the Yuan continent. This speed was already extremely shocking. However, Lu Ming realized that the black light behind him was moving faster and was slowly approaching him. Air-frozen bead. Lu Ming increased the influx of energy into the air-frozen bead and the speed suddenly increased. He could barely keep up with the speed of the old man behind him. The two of them, one chasing and the other escaping, left the range of the Six Kong Mountain in the blink of an eye and went far away. This chase and escape took half a day. This kid's speed is actually so fast. But to maintain this speed, let's see how long you can last. Behind him, the skeletal old man sneered. As expected, Lu Ming's speed gradually slowed down. To maintain such a speed and fly at full speed, the consumption was too great. The continuous use of the wind elemental technique and the control of the black wings consumed a lot of essential core. Now, Lu Ming's essential core was running out. The distance between the skeletal elder and Lu Ming was getting closer. Kid, even though I was severely injured 80,000 years ago and have yet to recover, it's still a piece of cake for me to deal with you. A mere LV1 martial emperor realm martial artist. The skeletal old man's voice was unusually cold. Old man, do you really think you can catch me? Lu Ming's voice was still calm. Oh really? I'd like to see what other tricks you have up your sleeve. The skeletal old man sneered. Voila! All of a sudden, a passageway appeared in front of Lu Ming. He stepped into it and in the next moment, he was thousands of miles away. Space-time domain. This is the space-time domain. The skeletal old man cried out in alarm. That's right. Lu Ming had asked Bubbles to help him open the space-time domain and appear thousands of miles away in an instant, putting some distance between him and the skeletal old man. After putting some distance between them, Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of raw gemstones appeared in the air. A powerful devouring force erupted from Lu Ming's palm and devoured the raw gemstones. He then continued flying, refining the raw gemstones as he flew, replenishing his essential core. Don't even think about escaping. The skeletal old man bellowed in rage. His sunken eye sockets flickered with raging flames. The two of them continued their pursuit. When the skeletal elder closed the distance between them, Lu Ming called for Bubbles to help him open a space-time tunnel. The distance between the two of them widened again. After a few times, the skeletal elder flew into a rage and could not catch up to Lu Ming. No, I can't go on like this. I'm seriously injured, and it's not good for my recovery. I have to take this person down as soon as possible. Besides, he has the help of the space-time spirit rat. Why did it appear again? Now, kill it while it's still not strong. The skeletal old man's eyes flickered as he finally gritted his teeth, as if he had made up his mind. Split! The skeletal old man growled. Then, a beam of light split off from his body and entered the space. It disappeared in a flash. However, the skeletal elder's aura had weakened a little. Lu Ming was flying in front of him. Suddenly, there was a fluctuation in the space in front of him. A dark light flashed and a figure appeared. Lu Ming's pupils constricted and he stopped in his tracks. It was the skeletal elder. The skeletal old man actually appeared in front of Lu Ming. Boom! A powerful aura emanated from the skeletal elder and locked onto Lu Ming. Brat, let's see where you're going to run to now. The skeletal old man sneered. Buzz! Behind him, there was the sound of air being torn. A black light flashed and another skeletal elder appeared behind Lu Ming. The two men in black surrounded Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming realized that the skeletal elder did not have a lower body at all, only his upper body. The skeletal elder was wearing a loose black robe, which he had not noticed in the cave. Boy, you're not simple. You've comprehended the chaos realm and have a space-time spirit rat as your companion. I can't let a person like you grow up. Today you'll die. The skeletal old man sneered as a jet-black light shot out from his glabella. The pitch-black light was like a divine sword that shot toward Lu Ming at an unbelievable speed. With a thought, Lu Ming's chaos domain spread out and blocked in front of him. Buzz! The jet-black ray of light shot into the chaos realm and emitted a sizzling sound. However, in the end, the chaos realm weakened a part of its power. The remaining part shot into Lu Ming's body and charged directly at the spiritual god. Thump! The black light struck the spiritual god's jade armor, causing it to shake. In the end, the jade armor blocked the black light, but a small part of the power still passed through the black armor and struck the soul. Lu Ming felt a vibration in his soul and a numbing itch. What a strange attack. It directly attacks the soul. Fortunately, I have the jade armor and my soul power is extremely strong, so I was able to block it. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Brat, not only do you have a spiritual god defensive treasure, but your soul power is also extremely powerful. Then you should die even more. The killing intent in the skeletal elder's eyes intensified when he saw that his attack could not do anything to Lu Ming. Old man, you were seriously injured tens of thousands of years ago and have been struggling at death's door for tens of thousands of years. You don't have much strength left. Why don't you find a place to recuperate? You're courting death. On Lu Ming's other shoulder he shouted. Hee, even if I'm seriously injured and my strength is reduced to less than 1%, it's more than enough to kill you all. The old man behind sneered. A layer of black light spread out from his body. His body began to turn illusionary, and the black light became more and more intense. Lu Ming's gaze was solemn and he was on high alert. Although he had been severely injured in the past, he was still a true Saint Stage powerhouse. He could not underestimate any Saint Stage powerhouse. Roar! The elder's body became more and more illusory, and in the end, he turned into a huge black god of death. He held the god of death's scythe, and his killing intent was cold. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. He thought of the dark child of the southern netherworld in the divine wilderness continent. The Dark Child's bloodline was a death god that could hurt people's souls. Die! The Grim Reaper held a sickle and slashed toward Lu Ming. In front of him, the skeleton sneered. His eyes were burning with fire. Two black divine swords shot out from his eyes and went for Lu Ming. Lightning, fire! Lu Ming shouted. The Chaos Realm turned into a lightning realm that filled the sky. At the same time, the lightning realm was burning with raging flames. Apart from some equally terrifying domains, the Chaos domain could transform into thousands of domains. According to the cultivation technique that the other party was cultivating, Lu Ming guessed that lightning and fire should be able to restrain the other party. Zzz. The Reaper's scythe and the two black divine swords struck the lightning and fire domain, producing sizzling sounds and black smoke. It was indeed useful. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Break! The skeletal old man shouted, his aura vast and mighty. Chapter 1466 Difficult Battle Buzz. Both the Reaper's scythe and the black divine sword were much more powerful. They broke through Lu Ming's lightning and fire domain and slashed at him. Chirping. Bubbles cried out. As it waved its claws, it set up a space-time defense around Lu Ming. And NBSP, although the skeletal elder's attack was profound, it was still blocked by the space-time domain and weakened by a portion. Then, it passed through the defense of the black wings and struck the spiritual god heavily. Thump! The jade armor shook violently. A powerful force passed through the jade armor and bombarded his soul. Lu Ming's expression changed and he could not help but retreat. The other party's attack was indeed terrifying. Even though Lu Ming had the jade armor and his soul spirit was dozens of times stronger than ordinary people, he still felt a tearing pain. If it was an ordinary person, even with the protection of the jade armor, their soul would have been destroyed. Still not dead. Lu Ming was shocked, but he did not know that the skeletal elder was even more shocked. The soul attack he launched could even destroy the soul of a 7th-level martial emperor. However, Lu Ming, who was only at the 1st-level martial emperor realm, managed to block it. This was an attack that he had launched without caring about his injuries. It was extremely harmful to his heavily injured body. Kill! I must kill him. Otherwise, if he spread the news that I'm still alive, I'll be in big trouble. The skeletal old man roared in his heart. He launched another attack without caring about his injuries. The Grim Reaper's scythe slashed down again. The skeletal elder in front of him struck out with his palm, and a huge palm print came crashing toward Lu Ming. This time, he didn't just launch a soul attack, he also launched an ordinary attack. Leave this to me. Dandan flew out and opened its mouth. A ball of world shadow flew out and hit the huge palm print. At the same time, Bubbles attacked, and terrifying blades of spacetime slashed at the other party. If you want to fight, then fight to the death. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with ferocity. Ignoring the Reaper's scythe behind him, he flapped his wings and charged forward. He was going to launch a counterattack. His glabella glowed, and a shield appeared in front of him. It was as large as a mountain. Boom! The illusory world that Dandan spat out was the first to bear the brunt. It collided with the huge palm print and the illusory world collapsed. Then, it faced the huge shield that Lu Ming had conjured. Thump! This shield was a holy weapon, and it was indestructible. The palm print landed on the shield. The shield trembled and was sent flying, but the palm print also disappeared. The palm print was offset. Bubbles' blade of spacetime continued to slash at his opponent. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It seemed that the other party was really extremely weak. Other than the soul attack, which was more powerful, ordinary attacks were not strong at all. Kill, die! Lu Ming shouted angrily and punched continuously with both fists. More than 10 fist forces, together with Bubbles' spacetime blade, were blasted toward the skeletal elder. The skeletal old man's expression changed. His body was covered in black light as he continuously struck out palm prints. Boom! 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 A violent explosion sounded. After the terrifying collision, the skeletal elder's body floated backward. At the same time, the Reaper's scythe hit Lu Ming, causing his soul to feel a tearing pain. However, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and endured it. Kill! With a flap of his black wings, Lu Ming charged towards the skeletal elder. He just stared at the skeletal elder, completely ignoring the attack of the death god's scythe behind him. Buzz! The black wings were like two heavenly blades, slashing at the skeletal elder. At the same time, a long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he swept it out. 13 charged strikes. The Emperor's spiritual weapon spear shook 4 times and 4 terrifying forces exploded at the skeletal elder. At the same time, Dandan and Bubbles' attacks also arrived and crushed each other. The skeletal old man roared as he extended his bony claws and struck out. A terrifying collision erupted, and the force swept in all directions. In the end, the skeletal elder was at a disadvantage and was sent flying. The black light on his body trembled. Damn it, kid, I want you dead." The skeletal old man roared madly, and the black light on his body burned like a flame. The giant god of death turned into a beam of light and merged into the skeletal elder's body. Boom! Then, a terrifying aura emanated from the skeletal elder's body. Like an ancient divine mountain, it pressed down on Lu Ming. This was the terrifying aura of a saint. "Not good. This old man is going to risk his life," Dandan exclaimed. "Devil's Soul Blade kill." The skeletal elder roared. Black light gathered around his body and formed a huge blade that slashed at Lu Ming. The giant blade slashed, and the clouds in the sky were cut in half. This huge saber made Lu Ming feel a terrible sense of danger. Buzz! The shield was the first to fly out and block in front of him. After that, Dandan and Bubbles set up their defenses. Bang! 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 The giant blade slashed down and the shield was sent flying. Then, Dandan and Bubbles' defense were also destroyed. The huge saber then slashed toward Lu Ming. The black wings folded in front of him, and a chaotic domain enveloped them. Clang! The huge blade slashed at the black wings, causing them to shake violently. Lu Ming's body trembled violently and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, he fell to the ground like a meteorite. Boom! Lu Ming landed heavily on the ground, creating a huge pit. Whoa, what a powerful force. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt his qi and blood surging in his body. Several bones in his body were broken. The skeletal elder flew toward Lu Ming with an illusionary blade in his hand. His powerful aura enveloped Lu Ming, and the flames in his eyes burned. Lu Ming was more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. The cultivation technique he cultivated was shocking, and he had many treasures on him. He even had several holy weapons. He did not look like a first-level martial emperor at all. At the same time, he also brought a space-time spirit mouse and a little turtle with him. He couldn't recognize them, but they were definitely amazing. All in all, Lu Ming's vitality was too tenacious. An ordinary first-tier martial royal realm expert could easily kill the skeletal elder even if he was severely injured. However, Lu Ming was still alive. He had used some forbidden techniques without caring about his injuries, but Lu Ming was still alive. The skeletal elder was shocked, but at the same time, he was even more determined to kill Lu Ming. "What do we do? This won't do. I'll be exhausted to death by this old man." Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Right, the prison guarding steel. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. This skeletal old man was obviously cultivating an evil way of martial arts. The prison-suppressing steel had a strong ability to restrain the evil way and the demonic way. Lu Ming had almost forgotten about this. This was also related to the fact that Lu Ming had cultivated a spirit body after he had entered the martial royal realm. After he had cultivated a spirit body, he had subconsciously ignored the remaining 2 bloodlines. He rarely used it. Lu Ming suddenly recalled it. Chapter 1467 1467 Second Level Martial Emperor Realm. With a thought, the prison-suppressing steel floated out. "Suppress, go!" Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. The prison-suppressing steel enlarged rapidly and pressed down on the skeletal elder. The prison-guarding steel. It's the prison-guarding steel. Impossible. Wasn't the prison-guarding steel broken? The skeletal old man screamed hysterically as soon as he saw the prison-suppressing steel. His voice was filled with endless fear. Then, he turned around and ran. The skeletal old man saw the prison-suppressing steel, but he didn't even dare to attack. He just ran away. Boom! The prison-suppressing steel shook, and the word on the steel gave off a bright light. The prison-suppressing steel became as high as the sky, and suddenly appeared above the skeletal elder's head, pressing down. Ah! The skeletal old man screamed in horror. His body was covered with a terrible black light. At this moment, the skeletal old man's qi was extremely powerful. He waved his hand and a terrifying blade light slashed towards the prison-suppressing steel. This slash was many times more powerful than the one that was aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression was grave. The skeletal elder's attack was a real desperate one. However, the prison-suppressing steel emitted a terrifying aura that had the power to suppress everything in the world. Under its suppression, the blade light of the skeletal elder collapsed instantly. Boom! Then, the prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the skeletal elder's body. The skeletal elder screamed and his skinny body exploded into ashes. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. That was because he did not activate the prison-guarding steel at all. It was killing the enemies automatically and its power was shocking. It was many times stronger than when Lu Ming activated it himself. Lu Ming found it unbelievable that the prison-suppressing steel could kill its enemies on its own and burst out with shocking power. Buzz! At this moment, a ray of black light shot out from where the skeletal elder's body had exploded. It was shockingly fast, as if it had shattered the void, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Brat, just wait for the evil spirit cult's revenge. The skeleton elder's unpleasant voice came from afar. He's not dead. Lu Ming frowned. The skeletal elder's body had been destroyed, but a wisp of his soul had escaped. Buzz! The prison-suppressing steel trembled as if it was angry. Then, it quickly shrank and flew back to Lu Ming's head, floating quietly. Lu Ming sized up the prison-suppressing steel curiously. It seemed that the prison-suppressing steel was not to be underestimated. Its origin was shocking. Lu Ming did not unleash the true function of the prison-suppressing steel. What he had unleashed was most likely just the tip of the iceberg. The prison-suppressing steel can attack the enemy by itself. This has never happened before. Strange. Could it be that the other party has practiced an evil cultivation method? But I've met evil, demonic, and even ghost cultivators before, but none of them have shown such a strange phenomenon. Lu Ming frowned and pondered. He felt that it was not as simple as the other party cultivating an evil way of cultivation technique that caused the prison-suppressing steel to attack the enemy. There must be another reason, but Lu Ming did not know the reason yet. Back in the Divine Ruins continents, the burly man from the deity sect said that the deity sect had a fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. It should be true. I must find a way to get that fragment. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. However, the Tianshan sect was extremely powerful. Some people even said that the Tianshan sect's overall strength might be the strongest among the 13 top sects in the Tsang region. It would be very difficult to get the fragment of the prison-suppressing steel. Lu Ming's gaze suddenly shifted to the spot where the skeletal elder's body was destroyed. The skeletal elder had left almost nothing behind, and he did not have a storage ring either. However, Lu Ming found a piece of black paper floating down. Lu Ming put away the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and appeared beside the paper in a flash. He grabbed the paper. A secret technique. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the paper and realized that it was a secret skill. Let's leave this place. Lu Ming kept the paper. With a flap of his black wings, he tore through the void and left this place. The battle just now had probably attracted the attention of the nearby experts. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming found a secret cave abode and walked in. Sitting cross-legged in the cave abode, Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of raw gemstones appeared. The devouring power burst out and devoured the raw gemstones' original qi. He began to refine them and recover. A few hours later, Lu Ming's essential core had fully recovered and the circulation of his essential core was extremely smooth. It was condensed and smooth, reaching a peak. I'm about to break through. Lu Ming's face revealed a hint of joy. When he was in Dragon God Valley, he had refined 3 royal fruits. Both his realm and cultivation had reached the peak of the first-level martial royal realm, only 1 step away from the second level. After this period of time and the battle with the skeletal elder, his potential had been suppressed. Now, he was finally going to break through. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a heavenly Dao stone appeared. It then flew above Lu Ming's head and floated above him, scattering wisps of heavenly Dao aura. Lu Ming started cultivating quietly. A few days later, Lu Ming's body emitted a powerful devouring force. The origin qi between heaven and earth surged towards Lu Ming and was devoured by him. At the same time, Lu Ming also took out a pile of mid-grade raw stones to aid his cultivation. As the rough stone was continuously devoured, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. Second-level martial emperor realm. Lu Ming had finally made another breakthrough. His chaos domain had been upgraded to level 2, and his cultivation had also broken through to the second level of the martial royal realm. His combat strength had improved greatly. However, Lu Ming did not end his cultivation. He continued to stabilize his cultivation. After 3 days, Lu Ming finally ended his cultivation. His cultivation at the second level of the martial royal realm had completely stabilized. Let's see what secret technique that skeleton old man left behind. At this moment, Lu Ming took out the piece of paper left behind by the skeletal elder and started reading. The black paper was made of an unknown material. It was very flexible and hard. It felt light in his hands. Lu Ming injected his essential core and lines of small, dense words appeared on the paper. Soul attack secret skill, godly sword technique. After a long while, Lu Ming put down the paper, a hint of excitement in his eyes. A soul attack technique was recorded on the paper. According to the records, one's soul would be tempered and strengthened by practicing this secret technique. At the same time, one could use a special method to condense his soul power into a divine sword and launch an attack that could attack the soul of others. Lu Ming could not help but think of the attack of the skeletal elder. The skeletal elder's eyes would emit a black light that attacked his soul like a divine sword. It was very powerful. This was a priceless treasure that could not be bought in the outside world. It could temper the soul, increase the strength of the soul, and even launch soul attacks. This was very suitable for Lu Ming. His soul had been refined by the World Refinement Tribulation Bell. It was broken and then rebuilt. The strength of his soul was dozens of times stronger than that of ordinary people. If he cultivated the godly sword technique, his soul attack would be extremely powerful. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming began to study it. Chapter 1468. 1468 The Saintess Nianqing? Time flew by. Cultivation knew no time. In the blink of an eye, another 10 days had passed. Whoosh! Lu Ming, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes. 2 black rays of light burst out from his eyes. Like 2 black divine swords, they pierced forward and flew a few hundred meters before disappearing into the cave wall. The godly sword technique is so mysterious. I haven't mastered it yet. According to the records, when I reach a high level, I can become invisible. With a shout, I can destroy the soul of my opponent and kill them without leaving a trace. Lu Ming muttered. The more he cultivated, the more he felt that the divine sword technique was unfathomable. He recalled the time when the Feng family head had brought them to see the skeletal old man. Duan Yen and Fu Xing had died with a shout from the skeletal old man. It must have been this ability that had destroyed their souls with a shout. As for the Feng family's second master and third master, their souls must have been destroyed, so there was no wound on their bodies. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. The divine sword technique would definitely become one of his trump cards in the future. I've been in seclusion for more than half a month. It's time to go back. Lu Ming walked out of the cave and looked into the distance. What entered his eyes was a vast mountain. He found that he was lost and didn't know where he was. When the skeletal elder was chasing him, he had randomly chosen a direction to escape in and didn't pay attention to where he was going. I found a place with people and inquired about it. Lu Ming soared into the sky and disappeared. Half an hour later, a city appeared in front of them. Lu Ming flew into the city, and not long after, he flew out again. I didn't expect that I would actually come to the territory of the Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming muttered. The Tianyu demonic sect. He thought of Xian Yanqing. Since I'm here, I'll go see little Qing and see how she's doing. Why didn't you enter the great emperor's secret realm? Lu Ming had many questions in his heart. He then moved and flew in the direction of the Sky Demon sect according to the information he had just obtained. Lu Ming flew at full speed. After more than a day, mountains came into view ahead. They were all demon mountains. Demonic mountains that were tens of thousands of feet tall broke into the sky, and this territory was filled with rolling demonic qi. This was the main gate of the Tianyu demon sect. When Lu Ming flew closer, he saw a shocking scene. In the depths of the vast demon mountain, there was a pillar of demonic qi that shot up into the sky. It was incomparably huge, even bigger than many demon mountains. Could it be that the demonic qi here is all because of that pillar of demonic qi? Lu Ming muttered in his heart and continued flying. Stop! Suddenly, there was a loud shout and 2 figures appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. The 2 young men were in their 20s. They wore black robes and carried demonic sabers on their backs. There was a demonic pattern between their eyebrows. A disciple of the Tianyu demonic sect. Halt! The Tianyu demon sect is just ahead. What are you here for? One of the young men asked. The two of you are too polite. I'm here to look for someone. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Oh, looking for someone? Are you looking for a disciple of my Tianyu demon sect? Tell me, what's your name? Maybe I can help you ask. A young man said, Her name is Xian Yanqing. I wonder if you've heard of her? Lu Ming said, What? You're looking for the holy maiden? The two young men's expressions suddenly changed and they shouted in a low voice. Holy maiden? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. How did Xian Yanqing become the saintess of the Tianyu demonic sect? He remembered that Xian Yanjuan had become the holy virgin of the Tian Shen sect after joining it. Could it be that Xian Yanqing had also become the holy virgin of the Tianyu demon sect? At this moment, countless thoughts were running through Lu Ming's mind. Brat, you should leave, quickly leave this place. The young man on the left said in a cold voice. Why is that? I'm really looking for Yanqing. Lu Ming said. How dare you? How dare you call the saintess by her name? You should take a good look at yourself. You're just a LV2 martial royal realm martial artist and you want to get close to the saintess? Dream on. The young man on the left berated. Lu Ming frowned and said, Your saintess old friend came from the same place. From the same place? The two young men were stunned. The young man on the right said, You are from the divine wilderness continent? Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. The two young men looked at each other and one of them said, Boy, you'd better not lie to us, or else you'll end up in a miserable state. Also, you and the saintess come from the same place. So what's your relationship with her? The saintess is very busy and needs to cultivate in seclusion. We can report this to the higher-ups, but if we find out that you're lying, you know the consequences, boy. Imni Yanking's boyfriend. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming said, What? How dare you, kid, you're looking for death. The two young men bellowed when they heard that. They glared at Lu Ming with murderous intent. Brat, how dare you profane the holy maiden? You deserve to die. Who do you think you are? You're just an ant. How dare you say that you're the saint's boyfriend? Don't you leave today. The two young men shouted coldly. They unsheathed their demonic blades and a cold aura enveloped Lu Ming. Both of them were at the peak of the second-level martial royal realm. Lu Ming frowned. Everything I've said is true. You can upload it to your saintess. Just say that Lu Ming is here to see her. Shall naturally know. You're looking for death. You still dare to talk nonsense. Kill. The young man on the left bellowed. The demonic blade in his hand slashed at Lu Ming. At the same time, the demonic blade of the young man on the right also slashed out violently, aiming for Lu Ming's head. It was as if he wanted to kill Lu Ming. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. A long spear appeared in his hand and he swept it across the two demonic blades. Clang! Clang! The demonic blade trembled, and a terrifying power gushed in. The bodies of the two young men trembled, and they were forced to retreat. He only managed to stabilize himself after taking dozens of steps back, causing the air to rumble. How dare you fight back? You're looking for death. Don't you dare leave this place today. The two young men shouted. You too, Lu Ming asked nicely and told you the truth, but you want to kill me. How preposterous. Lu Ming said coldly. If not for the fact that they were in the Tianyu demonic sect, the two of them would have been dead by now. What truth? Bullshit. You're insulting the holy maiden. One of them shouted. Buzz. At this time, a ray of demonic light flashed, and another young man appeared. What's going on? This young man had his hands behind his back, and his eyes were like lightning. His aura was many times stronger than the two young guards. Senior brother Jin Yu, you're here just in time. There's a lecherous man here who actually said he's the boyfriend of Saintess Xian Yanqing. One of the young men shouted. What? The young man named Jin Ye's eyes suddenly turned cold. His cold killing intent burst out and enveloped Lu Ming. You're just an ant. How dare you say that you're the saint's boyfriend? You'll die for what you've said. The golden feather stepped forward, and its powerful aura pressed toward Lu Ming. Peak LV4 Martial Royal Realm. This person's cultivation had reached the peak of the LV4 Martial Royal Realm. Chapter 1469. 1469 Meeting, Brat. Kneel down now and slap yourself 200 times, and I'll let you die in one piece. Jin Yu stared at Lu Ming with a haughty look. What a joke. Nianqing and I are already a couple. We've been together for so many years. What nonsense are you talking about? Lu Ming said coldly. In the face of such a question, how could Lu Ming avoid it? He could tell that these young men had a different opinion of Xian Yanqing. Therefore he would not avoid them. He wanted everyone to know that Xian Yanqing was his girlfriend. Kill! Jin Yu shouted and pressed his palm down. Boom! A huge demonic palm print pressed down on Lu Ming with shocking power. Back then, the Feng clan master was also at the peak of the LV4 martial royal realm. But his power was much weaker than Jin Yes. This person was obviously a heaven's favorite. Break! Lu Ming muttered and thrust the long spear in his hand. 13 charged strikes. Whoosh! A spear light pierced through the air and stabbed the demonic palm print. The 4 forces at the tip of the spear suddenly burst out with amazing penetrating power. It pierced through the demonic palm print, turning it into demonic chi and dissipating. You're only at the 2nd level of the martial royal realm. You have some strength, but you still have to die. Jin Yes' eyes were cold as his aura became stronger and stronger. Demonic chi started to burn like flames. Stop! At this moment, a crisp sound was heard. Jin Yu was stunned. He turned around and his expression changed. He bowed and said, Jin Yu greets the Holy Maiden. This subordinate pays his respects to the Holy Maiden. The 2 young men from before also bowed. Holy Maiden? Lu Ming cast his gaze over. A woman stepped through the air. She was wearing a long black robe, had a graceful figure and fair skin. She was very beautiful. However, it wasn't Xian Yanqing. It was an unfamiliar woman. It was obvious that there was more than one saintess in the Tianyu demonic sect. It was normal. Many sects had titles such as Holy Maiden, Holy Sun, and Zongzi. These people were the most talented geniuses of a sect and had the potential to inherit the position of sect leader in the future. However, there would usually be more than one person. Some sects had 2, 3, or even more. Each of them was extremely talented and competed with each other. The strongest person would inherit the position of sect master. The woman stepped in the air and came to Lu Ming. What's going on? Holy Virgin Lu Yu. There's a lecherous man here who claims to be Holy Virgin Nianking's boyfriend. I'm going to kill him. Jin Yu said respectfully. Although his cultivation was not bad, he was still very respectful and fearful in front of Lu Yu. Nianking's boyfriend? Interesting. Lu Yes' eyes flickered and the corners of her mouth curled into an inexplicable smile. She looked at Lu Ming and said, Are you really Nianking's boyfriend? That's right. Whether it's true or not, you'll know once you see Nianqing. Lu Ming said. All right, I'll believe you this time. But you have to know that if you lie, the Tianyu demon sect will be your burial ground. Lu Yes' eyes revealed a hint of killing intent. I'm just a mere 2nd-level martial emperor. How could I have such courage? Lu Ming smiled faintly. All right, I'll take you to Nianqing. Lu Yu said. Holy Maiden. Jin Yes' expression changed. Shut up. Do you have any objections to my decision? Lu Yu coldly glanced at Jin Yu, causing him to break out in a cold sweat. He quickly lowered his head and did not dare to speak. Let's go. Lu Yu took light steps and stepped into the air as she headed toward the depths of the Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming followed behind her. Along the way, some people looked at Lu Ming in surprise. However, when they saw that the person leading the way was Lu Yu, no one said anything. After crossing one demon mountain after another, the demonic chi in front of them was getting thicker and thicker. Very quickly, they arrived at an incomparably huge demonic mountain and landed in front of a huge palace. This place is Nianking's residence. Lu Yu said. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anticipation. He had not seen Xian Yanqing for more than half a year. He wondered how she was doing after they parted ways in the Divine Ruins continent. Holy Virgin Lu Yu, may I know why you've come? A middle-aged woman appeared in front of Lu Yu and bowed slightly. Please pass on a message that an old friend is here to see Nianqing. Lu Yu said in a tender voice. An old friend? Is this the person? The middle-aged woman looked at Lu Ming. That's right. This is young Master Lu Ming. He said that he is Nianking's boyfriend. Lu Yu said with a smile. The saint's boyfriend? The middle-aged woman's expression changed. A mere 2nd-level martial royal realm. Holy Maiden Lu Yu. Did you make a mistake? This is the Tianyu demon sect. I don't think he would dare to lie. Whether it's right or wrong, just let Nianqing come out and see. Lu Yu said. The middle-aged woman's eyes flickered. She pondered for a moment and said, "All right, I'll inform the saint." After saying that, the middle-aged woman turned around and walked into the palace. After a while, a figure flashed out of the hall and appeared in front of Lu Ming. "Lu Ming, is it really you?" A surprised voice was heard. An alluring figure stood in front of Lu Ming and looked at him carefully. "Nianqing." Lu Ming revealed a smile on his face. After more than half a year, he finally saw Xian Yanqing in the Yuan continent. After more than half a year, Xian Yanqing was still as beautiful as ever. In fact, the demonic glow on his body was even more intense. He looked like he had a unique charm that could make one's heart beat faster with just one look. Although Lu Yu was equally beautiful, when she stood next to Xian Yanqing, she couldn't hold a candle to him. The distance between them widened, and everyone's eyes naturally shifted from Lu Yu to Xian Yanqing. Lu Ye's eyes flashed with jealousy, but she still smiled. "Junior sister Yanqing, this man said he's your boyfriend. It seems he's not lying." "Not bad." Xian Yanqing nodded. He. Then I must congratulate junior sister Yanqing. But senior sister is a little strange. Your boyfriend's cultivation is too low. He's only at the second level of the martial emperor realm." At this point, Lu Yu stopped. There was a hint of mockery in her tone. "In my heart, Lu Ming's talent is much stronger than yours. It won't be long before he surpasses you. All right, senior sister, please leave." Xian Yanqing's voice was cold, as if he was on bad terms with Lu Yu. He, junior sister, I'll take my leave first." Lu Yu smiled and left. "Lu Ming, come with me." Xian Yanqing pulled Lu Ming's hand and entered the hall. Behind the hall, there was an elegant courtyard. Xian Yanqing leaned on Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming wrapped his arm around Xian Yanqing's waist and kissed his red lips. The scene was filled with warmth. After a long time, their lips separated. The two of them snuggled up to each other and told each other their hearts. "Little Qing, how did you become the saint of the Tianyu demon sect?" Lu Ming asked curiously. Chapter 1470 Show off. After I came to the Tianyu demonic sect, I accidentally had a conflict with someone else. I had a big fight, but my master took a fancy to me. My master is the sect master of the Tianyu demonic sect, and she took me in as a true disciple. Later, I was tested to have a rare innate demonic body, so I was named the Tianyu demonic sect's Holy Virgin. Xian Yanqing explained. "Innate demon body? Is it a type of innate spirit body?" Lu Ming's heart stirred. This was a possibility. In the divine wilderness continent, the cultivation level was too low. Some heaven-defying talents could not be discovered or discovered. However, it was different in the Yuan continent. Moreover, there were many types of innate spirit bodies. For example, Yin Feng's innate spiritual body was considered the worst among the innate spiritual bodies. After breaking through to the martial emperor realm, he could only transform into a low-grade earth spiritual body. Some powerful innate spiritual bodies could transform into medium-grade or even superior-grade earth spiritual bodies, or even stronger. Xian Yanqing's innate demonic body might be extraordinary, which was why he was named the Holy Virgin of the Tianyu demonic sect. Moreover, Lu Ming noticed that Xian Yanqing's cultivation was higher than his. He had reached the peak of the third-level martial emperor realm and was only one step away from the fourth level. Lu Ming finally understood why Xian Yanqing did not go to the great emperor's secret realm. It was very likely that Xian Yanqing had already broken through to the martial emperor realm and could not enter the great emperor's secret realm. Following that, Lu Ming briefly recounted his experiences along the way. "Little Qing, that Lu Yu doesn't seem to get along with you?" Lu Ming asked. "That's right. She and I are both saintesses and are qualified to compete for the future sect master of the Tianyu demon sect. She brought you here to see me to ruin my reputation. She has no good intentions," Xian Yanqing explained. Although there was no rule in the Tianyu demonic sect that the saintess was not allowed to interact with others, under normal circumstances, it was hoped that the saintess would try not to interact with others before breaking through to the saint realm, as it would distract her. Lu Yu had intentionally brought Lu Ming in to look for Xian Yanqing. She wanted to let the others know that Xian Yanqing had a boyfriend and that they were dating. This way, Xian Yanqing would have a bad impression on the higher-ups of the Tianyu demon sect. His chances of competing for the position of sect leader would be reduced. This was Lu Ye's purpose in bringing Lu Ming in. Xian Yanqing's lips curved into a smile. If she wants to compete for the sect master's position, Then so be it. I don't care about the sect master's position anyway. Little Qing, whether you have a heart or not, you still have to be careful in the future. Lu Ming was concerned. Yes, I know. Xian Yanqing nodded. The two of them chatted for a while. At this time, the news that a strange man in the LV2 martial royal realm was the boyfriend of the saintess, Xian Yanqing, spread throughout the entire Tianyu demonic sect, causing a huge uproar. A second-level martial royal realm thug is actually the saint's boyfriend. This is preposterous. A toad lusting after a swan's flesh. I want him to understand that he's not worthy of the saint. The voices of the young men were filled with anger and jealousy. Of course, Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming did not know about this. The two of them were still in a state of intimacy. A few hours later. Lu Ming, it's rare for you to come to the Tianyu demon sect. I'll show you around. There are some places in the Tianyu demon sect that are not bad. Xian Yanqing said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them walked out of the palace, hand in hand, and strolled around the Tianyu demon sect. However, he was stopped by a young man after a short while. Audacious fanatic, how dare you take liberties with the holy maiden? You deserve to die. The young man bellowed. When he saw Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing holding hands, his eyes burned with jealousy. Xian Yanqing was a legend in the Tianyu demonic sect. She came from a small continent and was recruited by the emissary of the Tianyu demon sect. As soon as she arrived, she was taken in as a true disciple by the sect master of the Tianyu demon sect. Later, it was found that she had a rare innate demon body and she was immediately conferred the title of saintess. Moreover, Xian Yanqing was devastatingly beautiful. Some of the beautiful women in the Tianyu demon sect couldn't help but pale in comparison. Naturally, Xian Yanqing became the goddess in the hearts of countless young men in the Tianyu demon sect. However, Xian Yanqing had a cold personality. He treated everyone with a cold look and had a strange temper. No young man could make him smile. But now, Xian Yanqing's boyfriend suddenly appeared, and he was even holding hands with Xian Yanqing. This made the young man so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He was so jealous that he almost vomited blood. Get lost. Xian Yanqing's cold voice came from his mouth. Holy maiden, this person is a good-for-nothing. You have to think twice and not be deceived. The young man roared. Get lost, you only have 3 breaths of time. Xian Yanqing said coldly as a terrifying aura emanated from his body. The young man's expression was ugly. He cast a warning glance at Lu Ming, then turned around and left. Little Qing, it seems that you're very popular in the Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming muttered. Xian Yanqing rolled his eyes at Lu Ming and smiled flirtatiously. If the young men from the Tianyu demon sect were to see Xian Yanqing like this, they would probably be dumbfounded. What's wrong? Are you jealous? Feeling the pressure? I have many suitors in the Tianyu demonic sect, including the geniuses of other sections. Some of them are even at the peak of the martial emperor realm. Xian Yanqing blinked his big eyes and looked at Lu Ming. I'm a little jealous, but I'm not stressed. I don't care about these people at all. In a few years, they won't be my match. Lu Ming smiled, full of confidence. Really shameless. Xian Yanqing smiled, but his face was filled with happiness. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly looked ahead. In front of him, streaks of light streaked across the sky. Even from a distance, Lu Ming could see that they were young men, all flying toward him in anger. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly. You said that I'm smug. Then I'll show you how smug I am. With that, Lu Ming wrapped his arm around Xian Yanqing's slender waist and pulled him into his arms. How dare you? Let go of your stinky hands. Lowly ant, how dare you? I'm going to cripple your hands. Let go. A group of young men appeared in front of Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. When they saw that Lu Ming was hugging Xian Yanqing, their eyes were about to spit fire. Their faces were red with anger, and they wanted to eat Lu Ming alive. How detestable. The holy, noble and high and mighty saintess was actually in this guy's arms. At the thought of this, they wished they could cut Lu Ming into pieces. All of you get lost. It's not your place to meddle in my business. Xian Yanqing scolded coldly. Holy maiden, you're still young. Don't be deceived by this man. That's right. You have unparalleled talent, which is rare in the world. You should find a man with the same talent to date. For example, me. This man is only a second-level martial royal realm trash. The young men spoke up one by one. Demonic Jia. Lu Ming noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was Mo Jia. He was the leader of the Tianyu demonic sect who had entered the Great Emperor's secret realm. Chapter 1471 One Step. Defeat Mo Jia sneered in the crowd. He stepped out and shouted, Lu Ming, I know that you and the Saintess came from the same small continent and that you've known each other for a long time. However, the Saintess' talent has not been discovered in that small continent. So, your cultivation base seems to be worthy of the Saintess. However, now that the Holy Maiden's talent has bloomed, she's a person from a completely different world from you. The difference between you and the Holy Maiden is too great. If you're sensible, leave the Holy Maiden on your own and don't delay her. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. In other words, you're saying that you're very strong and talented? Of course, how can we be compared to you? Someone sneered in response. Hee hee. Lu Ming revealed a contemptuous smile and said, I, Lu Ming, have risen from the divine wilderness continent, a small remote continent. I'm 26 years old now, and my cultivation is at the second level of the martial emperor realm. As for you, you claim to be the pride of the heavens and were born in the Yuan continent. Under such a good environment, at this age, your cultivation is only at your level. How can you have the face to act so high and mighty in front of me? If you give me a few years, I will definitely trample all of you under my feet. Lu Ming's voice was sonorous and powerful. It spread far and wide, causing the young geniuses of the Tianyu demon sect to have ugly expressions. Arrogant. Who do you think you are? You even said that you would trample us under your feet. He's a king on a wild island and thinks he can do the same in the Yuan continent. He's really looking at the sky from a lower position and overestimating his own ability. All the young men shouted. There was even one person who took a big step forward, releasing his aura as he shouted angrily. Kid, I'm also at the second level of the martial royal realm. Do you dare to fight me? If you want to fight, then let's fight. Lu Ming let go of Xian Yanqing and strode out. Kid, even if we're at the same level, I'll let you know what combat strength is. I'll defeat you in 10 moves. Dang! The young man shouted coldly. Demonic chi surged into the sky. He was like a demonic god. With a wave of his hands, a terrifying demonic light slashed toward Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he suddenly took a step forward. 9 dragons heaven-stomping steps. Now, Lu Ming had already cultivated the 9 dragons heaven-treading steps to its peak. A casual step was like 9 dragons trampling the sky, and its power was terrifying. Boom! Lu Ming took a step in the air and the void trembled. Then, a dragon's roar shook the 9 heavens. 9 dragons flew out from under Lu Ming's feet and pounced at the other party. The other party's demonic light was directly destroyed by the 9 dragons, and then heavily hit the other party's body. The other party let out a blood-curdling screech as the bones in his body crackled. His body was sent flying and he spat out a large mouthful of blood. It flew for over 1,000 meters before it finally came to a stop. Disbelief was reflected in its eyes. Defeated in 1 move. How is that possible? He mumbled to himself, finding it hard to bear. A moment ago he had been acting all high and mighty, wanting to teach Lu Ming, an ant from a savage island, a lesson in the name of the pride of the Yuan continent. He had even said that even if they were of the same level, he would let Lu Ming know what combat power was and defeat him in 10 moves. However, he was defeated by Lu Ming in 1 move. In response to what he had just said, he was simply too ashamed to show his face. He wished he could find a crack and hide in it. The expressions of the other young men from the Sky Demon sect changed. The young man from before had a low-grade earth spiritual body, and his combat strength could crush other martial artists of the same level. However, he was defeated by Lu Ming in 1 move. This made them re-evaluate Lu Ming. Who else wants to fight? My cultivation is at the early stage of the 2nd level martial emperor realm. All of you at or below the 4th level martial emperor realm can come and fight me. If you can defeat me, I'll turn around and leave. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the entire scene and his voice could be heard from afar. What? Anyone at or below the 4th level of the martial emperor realm can fight. How arrogant! How arrogant! You're overestimating yourself. The young men of the Tianyu demonic sect roared. Lu Ming actually said that anyone in the 4th level of the martial royal realm or below from the Tianyu demon sect could fight. He was merely at the early stage of the LV2 Martial Royal Realm. Yet he dared to say that Zhan Tianyu Demon Sect's LV4 Martial Royal Realm Heaven's favorite was arrogant beyond belief. Kid, don't think that you're so great just because you defeated someone at the same level. I'll fight you. You're courting death. A young man shouted and strode out. A powerful aura burst out, forming a demonic cloud that covered the void. This person had a cultivation of the third level of the Martial Royal Realm. Bang, bang, bang. Lu Ming was very direct. He took a step forward and it was still the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. With every step Lu Ming took, the sky rumbled, as if a giant was walking in the sky. In an instant, he took 9 steps in succession, and a huge 9 dragon flew out and pounced at the other party. Break! The other party roared loudly. His demonic might was vast and mighty. He threw dozens of punches in a row, and black fist gleams were blasted toward Lu Ming. However, the 9 dragons pounced over, and the fist radiance collapsed. It couldn't withstand a single blow. Bang! Just like the young man before him, the 9 dragons pounced on the young man's body. He let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Another move. Just like the young man from before, he was defeated in a single move. There seemed to be no difference between the third level and the second level of the Martial Emperor realm. The only difference was that Lu Ming had taken a few more steps. The young men from the Tianyu demonic sect looked at each other in shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was actually so terrifying? Was this still a person from a mere savage island? Behind them, Xian Yanqing smiled. Lu Ming was getting stronger. Humph, maybe he used all his strength in that move just now. It's just a show of strength. A cold voice came from the crowd. It was demonic Jia. Many people's eyes lit up. Perhaps it was true. Perhaps Lu Ming's move just now seemed simple, but it was very likely that he had used all his strength and his trump card to defeat his opponent and win. Perhaps Lu Ming's combat strength had reached its limit. That must be the case, many people thought. Otherwise, how could they accept that a lowly ant from a barbaric island had such strong combat strength? Ma Jia, my defeated opponent, do you dare to come out and fight? Lu Ming stared at demonic Jia and said coldly. Demonic Jia's face darkened. In the great emperor's secret realm, he had indeed fought with Lu Ming before. He was not Lu Ming's match at all. Mo Jia, go on. Let this kid know the true power of our Tianyu demon sect's paragon. That's right. With your combat strength you can easily take him down. The other young men from the Tianyu demonic sect spoke, causing Mo Jia's expression to turn even gloomier. What's wrong? You don't dare to fight me? Should I just admit defeat? Also, all of you can get lost. Lu Ming sneered. Arrogant. Demonic Jia. Teach him a good lesson. A young man was furious. Bang, bang. Ma Jia stepped forward and stared at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. Lu Ming, times have changed. I can defeat you now. Boom. A powerful aura burst out from Moji's body. Peak LV3 Martial Royal Realm. It had only been a short while since the end of the Great Emperor's secret realm, but Mo Jia's cultivation had already reached the peak of the third level of the Martial Emperor realm. Chapter 1472 Winning Streak for a figure like Mo Jia. He had been suppressed too much at the Supreme Being realm in the past. Once he broke through to the Martial Emperor realm, his cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. However, at the peak of the LV3 Martial Royal realm, his previous accumulation was almost exhausted. His future progress would slow down. However, this was enough to make Ma Jia very confident. His cultivation was more than 1 level higher than Lu Ming's, almost 2 levels higher. With every step Mo Jia took, the aura on his body became stronger. His demonic body was glowing, and demonic qi was circulating. Ma Jia has a rare medium-grade earth spiritual body, and his cultivation has reached the peak of the third-level Martial Emperor realm. He's more than enough to suppress this kid. I just don't know how many moves this kid can block from demonic Jia. Some of the young men from the Tianyu demonic sect started to discuss. Ma Jia, you are very confident, but I hope that you won't be like the previous two. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The previous two were also full of confidence, but the result was a crushing defeat. Dark Demon Fist. Ma Jia suddenly roared and pounced at Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. He threw a punch at Lu Ming. Wherever the fist force passed, the void trembled, bringing with it a terrifying storm. Good. Lu Ming smiled faintly and threw a punch as well. Thump! Their fists collided heavily, like two giant hammers colliding in the air. Demonic chi surged. The moment the two fists collided, Mo Jie's expression changed. With a muffled groan, his body trembled and he flew far away. What? The other youths from the Tianyu demonic sect widened their eyes. In a head-on confrontation, Demonic Jie was actually forced back. Demonic Jie was a medium-grade earth spiritual body. His physical body was extremely strong, but he was knocked back by Lu Ming's punch. Could Lu Ming also be a medium-grade earth spiritual body? A mid-grade earth spiritual body was considered a rare spiritual body in the 13 top sects of the Azure region. Devil's Seal of Darkness. Mo Jie retreated 100 meters. His face was dark as he roared into the sky. Demonic chi exploded from his body like flames. Everything within 100 meters was covered in demonic chi. A huge palm print formed in the sky, blocking out the sun and bombarding Lu Ming. The power was terrifying. Moji's combat strength was indeed very strong. He was much stronger than the third-level martial emperor realm martial artist from before. Whether it was the strength of his spirit body or the use of his domain martial technique, they were both very shocking. An ordinary peak third-level martial emperor realm expert would probably not be able to withstand a single move from Mo Jie and would be killed. However, Lu Ming's expression remained calm. Buzz! Lu Ming soared into the sky, his chaos realm enveloping him. He cast the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw a punch. Lu Ming's body appeared very small in the face of Mo Jie's demonic palm print. However, when Lu Ming's fist landed on the demonic palm print immediately collapsed. Lu Ming stepped on the demonic chi and walked towards Mo Jie. His cold voice was heard. "Mo Jie, is this all your combat power? What a disappointment." "Impossible." Mo Jie bellowed. The move just now was the combination of his spirit body and his domain technique. It could be said that he had unleashed his combat strength to the peak. However, in Lu Ming's hands, it could not even withstand a single blow. 9 dragons trampling the heavens. Lu Ming took a step forward and appeared on top of Mo Jie's head. He took 9 steps in a row and 9 dragons flew out, roaring and dancing, flying towards Mo Jie. "Get lost!" Mo Jie bellowed. His demonic body glowed and his domain covered his entire body. He struck out with his palm and a palm print landed on the 9 dragons, sending them flying. However, Lu Ming had already appeared in front of Mo Jie and punched out. Bang! Mo Jie was sent flying, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. His chest caved in. He lost, Mo Jie lost. Everyone could tell that if Lu Ming had not shown mercy, Mo Jie would have been dead. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying. Mo Jie, who had a medium-grade earth spiritual body, was actually no match for Lu Ming and was easily defeated even though his cultivation level was in the lead. Could it be that Lu Ming had a superior grade spiritual body? Many people's hearts trembled as they thought of this possibility. That was impossible. Then, they all shook their heads in their hearts. There weren't many upper-class earth spiritual bodies in the entire Azure region. Every one of them was a genius with unparalleled combat strength and was an invincible figure among the younger generation. How could Lu Ming have a superior grade earth spiritual body? In fact, Lu Ming did not have a superior grade earthly spiritual body, but a medium grade one. However, because Lu Ming had survived the world refining tribulation bell, there was a faint trace of chaos chi in his body, which made his physical body far stronger than those of the same grade. Although his current spiritual body was a medium grade earth spiritual body, its power and strength were probably not inferior to that of a high-grade earth spiritual body. In addition, Lu Ming had broken through to the second level of the martial royal realm and his chaos domain had broken through to the second level. His combat strength had increased greatly, and he was much stronger than he was in the Great Emperor Secret Realm. Although the chaos realm was difficult to cultivate and improve, the increase in power with each breakthrough was terrifying. Damn it! Demonic Jie roared in his heart and looked at Lu Ming with an extremely gloomy gaze. However, Lu Ming ignored him. He swept his gaze across the entire place and said, "Who else wants to come up and fight?" The remaining young men from the Tianyu demonic sect looked at each other with ugly expressions. Even Demonic Jie was defeated. Who could fight him? As a medium-grade earth spiritual body, Moji's combat strength was extremely powerful. It was not easy for a 4th-level martial royal realm genius with an inferior earth spiritual body to defeat Mo Jie. However, Lu Ming had won. Therefore, Even if an ordinary LV4 martial royal realm with an inferior earthly spiritual body were to attack, it would be difficult for them to defeat Lu Ming. Only a 4th-level martial royal realm intermediate earth spiritual body would have the confidence. However, there weren't many medium earth spiritual bodies and they didn't have any here. In addition, many of the people here had reached LV5 and LV6 martial royal realm. If the news of him bullying Lu Ming, a LV2 martial royal realm martial artist, with such a low cultivation spread, the younger generation of the Sky Demon sect would become a laughingstock. For a moment, no one made a sound. "I'll test you." At this moment, a voice was heard. In the distance, a ray of light flashed and a young figure appeared. "Senior brother Jin Yu. It's senior brother Jin Yu. That's great. With senior brother Jin Yu's help, victory is in our hands. Look at that brat. How arrogant he can be." Many people from the Tian Yu demon sect were overjoyed to see this young man. "It's him." Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. This young man was the one who had attacked Lu Ming when he had just arrived at the Sky Demon sect's front gate. However, he was interrupted by Lu Yu halfway. This person's cultivation was at the peak of the LV4 martial royal realm. Jin Yu looked at Lu Ming coldly and said, "Brat, you managed to escape before, but I'll deal with you now." His voice was cold and arrogant, and he had an arrogant expression on his face. The powerful cultivation of the peak of the 4th-level martial royal realm bloomed from his body. A terrifying pressure pressed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. The essential core in his body circulated crazily to resist the other party's aura. Boom! Between the two of them, due to the clash of auras, a loud rumbling sound was produced. Chapter 1473 Great Battle against Jin Yu. Facing the golden feather, Lu Ming had to treat it with caution and did not dare to be careless. The golden feathers gave Lu Ming a strong sense of pressure. A LV4 martial royal realm expert could be considered a middle-rank emperor. His combat strength far exceeded that of a LV3 martial royal realm expert. Moreover, Jin Yu's spiritual body was definitely not simple. This could be seen from the expressions of the other disciples of the Sky Demon sect. "MOU." Jin Yu extended a hand and pressed in the air. His domain spread out. The demonic Qi domain continued to expand and spread toward Lu Ming. The domains were layered and contained endless demonic Qi. There were even feathers that looked like swords flying in the air. It's senior brother Jin Yu's devil feather domain. It said that senior Jin Yu's territory has already reached level 5. Someone exclaimed. "Demonic feather domain. What a wonderful domain." Lu Ming's eyes flickered. There were tens of millions of domains in the world, and one could see it in any domain. Some Heaven's Pride experts who had comprehended many kinds of intent realms before they reached the Martial Emperor realm might be able to form some wonderful domains after they broke through. For example, some people who had comprehended the wind and fire concepts before reaching the Martial Emperor realm could condense the wind and fire domain after breaking through to the Martial Emperor realm. The power of the domain would be more powerful than a single domain. Jin Yu's demonic feather territory was obviously a mixed territory. Moreover, it was a level 5 territory, which was beyond his cultivation level. Its power was absolutely shocking. Chaos! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He pressed his palm against the void and the chaos domain spread out, expanding rapidly. He was going to use the chaos domain to resist the other party's devil feather domain. Haha, this kid is overestimating himself. He wants to use his domain to fight against senior Jin Yu's domain. Just watch. He's about to be defeated. Senior Jin Yu's demonic feather territory is at level 5, while he's only at level 2. I can't even hold on for a breath. At the side, some young men sneered. A second-rank domain against a fifth-rank domain. Was that even possible? Buzz! The two domains collided, causing the void to shake. Then, their domains intertwined and clashed fiercely. 1, 2, 3. In the blink of an eye, 10 breaths had passed. Their domains were still entangled in an intense battle. Some of the young men from the Sky Demon sect stiffened. Their eyes were wide open as they glared at Lu Ming. A second-rank territory could actually resist a fifth-rank devil feather territory. From the looks of it, it was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. How was this possible? What kind of domain was this? How could it be so terrifying? Is a fifth-rank domain really that great? Break! At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly said coldly and pressed down with one hand again. Buzz! The primal chaos domain trembled as it weighed hundreds of millions of caddies, suppressing everything. Boom! Jin Ye's expression changed drastically. His devil feather domain collapsed with a loud bang. His body trembled and he could not help but take 3 steps back. The others were dumbfounded. Jin Ye's face was extremely gloomy. In the confrontation of domains, he was actually defeated. He was no match for Lu Ming. A 5th-level territory was no match for Lu Ming's 2nd-level territory. This made his killing intent surge. Initially, he wanted to perform well in front of Xian Yanqing and trample on Lu Ming so that Xian Yanqing would see how vulnerable Lu Ming was. He wanted Xian Yanqing to see that he was the real genius and would have a whole new level of respect for him. But now, his 5th-level territory was no match for Lu Ming's 2nd-level territory. It could be said that he had lost all his face. Boom! Demonic chi surged from Jin Ye's body, and terrifying demonic true essence spread out of his body. Kid, a domain is only one of a martial artist's combat powers. It doesn't represent all of a martial artist's combat power. Now, I'll let you see what true combat power is. Jin Yu let out a long cry. His spirit body glowed and demonic chi surged. A demonic blade flew out from between Jin Ye's eyebrows and was held in his hand. What a joke. Territory doesn't represent all combat power. If you have the ability, suppress your cultivation to the LV2 Martial Royal Realm and I'll defeat you with one move. Lu Ming's voice was filled with mockery. In the beginning, Jin Yu wanted to suppress him with his domain. After his domain was no match for Lu Ming, he said that the domain did not represent his full combat power. How ridiculous was that? Humph, humph. Jin Yu snorted coldly. His face turned even colder as he slashed down with a demonic blade in his hand. A ray of saber radiance pierced through the sky. It was unknown how long it was, but it came down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his essential core to the maximum and his muscles bulged. There were wisps of chaotic chi shuttling through his muscles, increasing the power of his spirit body. Roar! A dragon's roar was heard from Lu Ming's body. Following that, Lu Ming charged forward. His chaos domain burst forth and he threw a punch. Boom! The punch landed on Jin Ye's saber radiance. With a deafening boom, Lu Ming's body trembled and his chaos domain trembled violently. With a swoosh, his body was sent flying. So strong! Lu Ming retreated 1,000 meters away. He felt a burning pain on his fist. At the same time, the chi and blood in his body were boiling. Jin Ye's spiritual body was definitely a medium-grade earth spiritual body, the same as Mo Jie's. His cultivation had reached the peak of the LV4 Martial Royal Realm, and his combat strength was extremely shocking. A heaven's favorite like Jin Yu could easily fight above his level. He could easily kill a LV5 Martial Royal Realm or even stronger. Haha, that brat is no match. Many people laughed. Finally, Lu Ming was no match for them. They heaved a long sigh of relief. Previously, they were suppressed by Lu Ming and they felt very aggrieved. Lu Ming! Behind them, Xian Yanqing looked worried. Thousand-splitting demon saber. The golden feather pushed Lu Ming back with one strike and took advantage of the situation to slash at Lu Ming again. As the energy of the air-frozen bead gushed in, Lu Ming cast the wind element technique. His figure flashed like a floating light and passing shadow, leaving no trace behind as he dodged Jin Ye's blade gleam. Jin Yu frowned and slashed with the demonic blade again. This time, there were 3 blade auras, blocking Lu Ming's 3 escape routes. However, Lu Ming's speed was so fast that those with weaker cultivation could barely see his shadow. With a few flashes, he dodged the 3 blade gleams one by one. Slash! Slash! Jin Yu roared. This time, he slashed out 7 vast blade lights in one breath. Unfortunately, it was useless. Lu Ming dodged them one by one. Damn it, kid, you're just hiding here and there. What kind of skill is that? If you have the ability, then fight with senior brother Jin Yu. Not bad. You only know how to dodge. What's the point of that? Some of the young men shouted unhappily. What a joke. When did you guys hear that a martial artist's movement technique isn't a part of their combat strength? Lu Ming sneered in response. Those people's faces turned red. Indeed, movement techniques had always been an important part of combat strength. Attack, movement, and defense were all part of one's strength. What was the use of brute force if it couldn't hit anyone? You can't escape, die! Jin Yu roared. The demonic blade was mighty. This time, he slashed out 18 blade gleams at once. The entire world was shrouded in blade gleams as they slashed toward Lu Ming. Chapter 1474 Who Can Fight? Buzz! 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 Lu Ming's figure flickered rapidly and dodged the blade gleams. Then, he charged at the golden feather at top speed. Good! Jin Ye's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The demonic feather territory spread out, and in the territory, there were rays of saber radiance that slashed at Lu Ming. Seal! Lu Ming suddenly spat out a word. Buzz! 5 light doors suddenly appeared above Jin Ye's head. The 5 gates of sealing shone with a brilliant light and pressed down on the golden feather. At this moment, Jin Ye's movements froze. He was enveloped by the sealing power of the gate of sealing and was greatly affected. Break die! Jin Yu shouted in anger. 5 rays of blade light shot out and hit the 5 gates of sealing. The 5 gates of sealing started to shake violently. Boom! 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 Then, the 5 gates of sealing exploded. However, the seal at this moment was enough for Lu Ming. Godly sword technique. Lu Ming appeared not far away from the golden feather. 2 beams of black light shot out from his eyes like 2 divine swords, piercing toward the golden feather. This was a soul attack technique. Jin Ye's domain was unable to block it at all. The black divine sword directly pierced through the domain at an astonishing speed and entered Jin Ye's body, directly breaking through Jin Ye's spiritual god. Boom! At this moment, Jin Yu felt a tearing pain in his soul. His spiritual god trembled and his aura weakened. At this moment, Lu Ming used all his strength. His 3rd bloodline appeared and a wisp of energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Then, he threw a punch. Other than the chaos sky-turning seal, this punch was Lu Ming's strongest attack. He threw a punch, which directly penetrated Jin Ye's domain and went straight for him. Get lost! Jin Yu roared angrily. He endured the pain in his soul and exploded. However, how much power could he unleash in such a hurry? Boom! The force of Lu Ming's fist was as destructive as a dead branch, crushing the power of the golden feather. Jin Ye's body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was sent flying like a cannonball by Lu Ming's attack. Bang! Lu Ming stomped heavily in the air. His figure was like lightning, catching up to the golden feather and throwing another punch. Jin Yu let out a blood-curdling screech as his entire body was blasted towards the ground, heavily smashing onto a towering devil mountain. Debris flew everywhere as Jin Ye's entire body sank into the devil mountain. How did this happen? The other disciples of the Sky Demon sect were completely dumbfounded. Just now, Jin Yu clearly had the upper hand. How did he get defeated by Lu Ming in the blink of an eye? Some people did not even see how Jin Yu was defeated. Just now, Lu Ming had suddenly retaliated by casting the 9 seals of the Divine Gate and bombarding Jin Ye's soul with the Divine Sword technique, causing Jin Yu to reveal an opening. Then, he exploded with all his strength and severely injured Jin Yu in one fell swoop. All of this had happened too quickly, in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. Brat, what kind of despicable means did you use to injure senior brother Jin Yu? That's right, he must have used some despicable means. Otherwise, senior brother Jin Yu clearly had the upper hand. How could he lose so quickly? You're shameless. The few young men glared at Lu Ming and berated him. Shut up. Xian Yanqing stepped forward and glared at the disciples of the Tianyu demonic sect. As a disciple of the Tianyu demon sect, you were defeated by someone who was 2 levels higher than you. Instead of reflecting on your own shortcomings, you only know how to slander others. Don't you feel ashamed? But one of the young men wanted to retort. What just now? In the battle just now, anyone with a discerning eye could see that Jin Yu had used his king's spiritual weapon, while Lu Ming had been unarmed the entire time. He had not even used his king's spiritual weapon. The only reason he had won was his true combat strength. How could he have used any despicable means? If it was really a despicable trick, there are so many people here, including my senior brother who is a high-level martial emperor. How could I have hidden it? Xian Yanqing scolded again. In the crowd, there were some youths with unfathomable cultivation. At this moment, their expressions were somewhat unsightly. They knew that Xian Yanqing was right. Lu Ming had won because of the secret skill and his own combat strength. The young men's faces turned red, and they didn't dare to say anything. Who else wants to fight? Anyone at or below the 4th level martial royal realm can come and fight, Lu Ming said. At the scene, The disciples of the Sky Demon sect had extremely gloomy expressions. Who could still fight? Even Jin Yu was defeated. Jin Yu was an invincible figure at the LV4 Martial Emperor realm. Not many people could defeat him. If he was defeated, others would only be humiliating themselves. The crowd looked at each other, but no one stepped forward. I was wondering how strong the fighting power of the disciples of the major sects in the Yuanlu continent was. But in the end, you can't even beat me, a man from a savage island. How disappointing. Lu Ming shook his head and sighed. Ah, damn it. Many of the young men from the Sky Demon sect clenched their fists and gritted their teeth. Lu Ming's words were like a slap to their faces. Previously, they had called Lu Ming an ant from the savage island. How could he be compared to them? One by one, they belittled Lu Ming and placed themselves in a high position, saying that Lu Ming was not worthy of Xian Yanqing. Only geniuses like them were worthy of Xian Yanqing. But now, they had sent out a paragon whose cultivation level was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming's, but they were still no match for him. If Lu Ming was an ant and a piece of trash from the savage island, what were they then? All of their faces were burning, as if there was a flame burning. I almost forgot. I still have something to do. I'll be leaving first. A young man suddenly spoke and turned to leave. Ah, I also have something to do. Me too, my master is looking for me. Following which, the young men randomly found someone to deal with and quickly left. They really had no face to stay here. Especially in front of Xian Yanqing. Brat, there are stronger heavens favorites in the Tianyu demonic sect. They're just training outside. Let's fight again next time. A few young men who were the most unwilling to give up also left after leaving these words. Even Jin Yu was carried away. In the blink of an eye, not a single person was left. Lu Ming, I'm sorry. Xian Yanqing went forward and held Lu Ming's hand. Don't be embarrassed. You're my woman. These toads want to eat swan meat. I'll beat them up one by one. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Xian Yanqing's little face blushed slightly, and he smiled happily. Buzz! At this moment, the space nearby suddenly rippled, and a figure suddenly appeared. It was a beautiful middle-aged woman in a black demonic robe. She also had an indescribable aura. Master! Xian Yanqing exclaimed in shock when he saw the middle-aged beauty. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This beautiful middle-aged woman was actually Xian Yanqing's master, the sect master of the Sky Demon sect. The sect master of the Sky Demon sect, the Grand Master of the Sky Demon sect, was an overlord in the Azure continent. He was someone who could shake the entire Azure continent with a single stomp of his foot. He was as famous as the Dragon God Valley Master. Senior, Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped forward and cupped his fists. The Grand Master of the Sky Demon sect smiled faintly and said, Kid, you're quite strong. You've actually cultivated a chaos domain. That's even rarer. Many thanks for Senior's praise. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, N. The sect master of the Sky Demon sect nodded and looked at Xian Yanqing with a doting expression. I won't object to young people falling in love and dating each other. The Grand Master of the Sky Demon sect suddenly changed his tone and said, However, you are still at the golden age for cultivation. You should prioritize cultivation. Although your talent is not bad, your cultivation is too low. In the vast Yuan continent, it is nothing. Without cultivation you can't truly have freedom. Little guy, do you understand? I understand. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Also, Nianqing has a heaven-defying appearance and an innate demonic body. But because of this, there are many people who covet her. With your current cultivation, you're too weak. Can you protect Nianqing? The sect master of the Sky Demon sect continued. Lu Ming frowned slightly. The sect master of the Sky Demon sect's meaning was clear. His cultivation level was too weak. Master, I've been through life and death with Lu Ming all this while. I believe in him. He'll definitely rise to power and won't let anyone hurt me, Xian Yanqing said. Silly child, you are too naive. How can the divine wilderness continent be compared to the Yuan continent? The sect master of the Sky Demon sect said. But, master, Xian Yanqing wanted to continue. Nianqing. Lu Ming interrupted Xian Yanqing and said, Nianqing, senior is right. The Yuan continent is countless times bigger than the divine wilderness continent. In the Yuan continent, my cultivation is indeed too low and I can't give you much assurance. However, I will definitely work hard to cultivate. When I rise to the top in the future, I will truly be free and unfettered in the world. So, Nianqing, you should cultivate in the Tianyu demon sect. One day, I will accompany you to conquer the world. This was Lu Ming's true feeling. Ever since he came to the Yuan continent, he understood how small he was. In the divine wilderness continent, a martial emperor was high and mighty, an overlord of a region. But in the Yuan continent, they were the most common existence. They could even be said to be ants. In the Yuan continent, true experts were as common as clouds. Lu Ming had even seen a true great emperor. That was the real horror. Only by stepping onto the peak of this world could one truly be free and unfettered in this world, not being controlled by others. At this moment, Lu Ming's spirit soared. His goal was not the Saint Realm or even the Great Emperor Realm, but the peak of the world. An indescribable confidence exuded from Lu Ming. What an unruly young man. I'll wait for you to rise to the top. Go. The Grand Master of the Sky Demons sect waved his hand. Master, I would like to give Lu Ming a paragraph. Xian Yanqing said. All right. The Grand Master of the Sky Demons sect nodded and took a step forward before disappearing. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming, a hint of reluctance in his eyes. Silly girl. I'm here to see you. I'm going to leave after I'm done. I can't stay in the Tianyu Demons sect forever. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing's hand and laughed. Besides, the Tianyu demonic sect is not far from Dragon God Valley. I can come and visit you again when I have time. Lu Ming continued. N. Xian Yanqing nodded gently. Holding Lu Ming's hand, they walked out of the Tianyu demon sect. Soon, they were out of the Tianyu demonic sect. Xian Yanqing was still reluctant to see Lu Ming off and wanted to send him off for a while. The two of them strolled through the air, neither too fast nor too slow. Half a day passed just like that. Little Qing, you should go back. If you continue, you'll have to send me to Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming said with a smile. Lu Ming, don't blame Master. Xian Yanqing said softly. But before she could finish her sentence, Lu Ming had already kissed her on her red lips. The two of them hugged each other tightly, as if they were going to merge together. After more than 10 minutes, the two of them separated. You don't have to say much. I know. Believe me, one day, I'll definitely become Ling Yun. When that time comes, no one will be able to stop us. Lu Ming smiled, then took out a black bangle and helped Xian Yanqing put it on. It was the bracelet that Lu Ming had obtained from the Emperor's secret realm. A holy weapon? Xian Yanqing murmured, his eyes slightly red. Silly girl, go back. I'm leaving. Lu Ming kissed Xian Yanqing's forehead lightly, then turned around and left. Lu Ming, I'll work hard to cultivate too. I'll be with you when you're on the top of the cloud. Xian Yanqing turned around and walked towards the Tianyu demon sect. Buzz! Lu Ming spread out his body and flew through the air, letting the strong wind hit his face. One day, I'll definitely rule the world. Lu Ming roared, his voice reverberating for thousands of miles. It would be a lie to say that he felt comfortable during the trip to the Tianyu demonic sect. It was fine if it was the younger generation, but in the end, even Xian Yanqing's master appeared. Although his words were not sharp, his attitude was clear. Lu Ming was too weak now and was not worthy of Xian Yanqing. He should try to stay away from Xian Yanqing. This was the intention of the sect master of the Sky Demon sect. Before he came to the Yuan continent, Lu Ming had not expected that Xian Yanqing would be chosen by the sect master of the Tianyu demon sect as a direct disciple and even become the holy virgin of the Tianyu demon sect. As such, there was some interference between them. Lu Ming was angry. However, he knew that the Grand Master of the Sky Demon sect was right. His cultivation was still too weak. Now that he was with Xian Yanqing, he couldn't be free at all. What could he do if a peak martial emperor coveted Xian Yanqing? Strength. Everything was still strength. He needed powerful strength. Ever since he had formed the Dragon Alliance, dominated the Divine Wilderness continent, and killed De, Lu Ming had actually relaxed a little. Although his heart to pursue martial arts had not changed, he did not feel as much pressure as before. Without pressure, he would lose the courage to move forward. Now, he felt a strong pressure on his body. Buzz! Lu Ming streaked across the void and moved forward at top speed. The vast land flashed past in the direction of Dragon God Valley. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's heart tightened. He felt a strong sense of danger approaching. Without any hesitation, black wings appeared on Lu Ming's back, surrounding him in the middle. Whoosh! In the sky, a demonic blade seemed to cut through the entire world and slash toward Lu Ming. Clang! The demonic blade slashed at the black feathered wings. Lu Ming was sent flying as if he had been hit by a mountain. Lu Ming only managed to stabilize himself after flying for tens of thousands of meters. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming's eyes were sharp. In the sky, 6 figures descended and blocked Lu Ming's path from all directions, surrounding him in the middle. Chapter 1476 Ambush. The 6 figures exuded a terrifying aura. They intertwined with each other and blocked all of Lu Ming's escape routes. 5 7th-level martial emperors and 1 6th-level martial emperor. Lu Ming's pupils contracted rapidly. One of them was a young man with long hair that fluttered in the wind. He carried a demonic blade on his back and looked like a young demonic god with an overbearing aura. This person was at the 6th-level martial royal realm. The other 5 people's faces couldn't be seen clearly. They were covered in a pitch-black demonic light and their terrifying auras shot into the sky. These 5 people were all at the 7th-level martial royal realm. The Tianyu demon sect really thinks highly of me. Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning as he stared at the young man. The blade just now had come from this young man. He was a terrifying heaven's favorite. You've injured our Tianyu demonic sex prodigy and disrespected our holy virgin. You think you can leave so easily? You're too naive. The young man spoke, his killing intent as cold as a blade. Hee. The Sky Demon sect is one of the 13 top sects in the Azure continent. Is this all you can do? If your peers can't beat you, you'll send someone stronger to kill you? Lu Ming sneered. Anyway, you're dead. No one will know about this. The young man's face was still cold and calm. He stepped forward toward Lu Ming. With every step he took, an extremely powerful pressure pressed down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. His mind was spinning rapidly, thinking of a way to escape. Lu Ming, I'll give you a chance to hand over the cultivation technique you have and I might spare your life. The young man said, a hint of greed flashing in his eyes. He was there when Lu Ming and Jin Yu fought in the Tianyu demon sect. Lu Ming had actually defeated Jin Yu's level 5 territory with his level 2 territory. He was very curious as to what technique Lu Ming had cultivated to have such a terrifying territory. Oh, if you want my cultivation method, you have to tell me one question. Who sent you here? Lu Ming said. The young man's eyes flashed, then he sneered. I just wanted to kill you. All right, speak. Kill. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly roared and rushed toward the young man. He flapped his black wings and a gust of wind swept toward the young man. His 2 wings were like 2 heavenly blades, slashing at the other party. You're looking for death. The young man coldly spoke. He didn't unsheathe the devil's saber on his back, but rather, he slashed out with his palm. A shocking demonic blade appeared and slashed forward. Thump! The demonic blade slashed at the black wings, causing them to tremble violently. Lu Ming's body retreated like a cannonball, his qi and blood in his body churning and blood flowing from his mouth. Without a doubt, this young man was a top heaven's favorite. His battle strength was shocking. Although his cultivation was at the 6th level of the martial royal realm, his combat strength could definitely kill a 7th-level martial royal realm expert, or even be comparable to an 8th-level martial royal realm expert. Lu Ming was no match for him. Don't attack. Seal the area. I'll kill him. The young man said coldly as he stepped forward and closed in on Lu Ming. Buzz! The young man struck out with his palm, and a terrifying demonic blade slashed down at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella glowed and a shield appeared. It enlarged and blocked in front of him. Clang! The demonic blade slashed at the shield and the shield trembled. The shield and Lu Ming were both sent flying. Holy weapon. It's a holy weapon again. You have a lot of treasures on you, but it's a pity that you're a piece of trash, wasting these treasures for nothing. In the future, I'll help you keep these treasures. Remember, the one who killed you is Mo He of the Tianyu demon sect. The greed in the young man's eyes grew even more intense, and the aura around him grew even stronger. With a wave of his hand, a demonic blade appeared behind his back, and a terrifying blade light stirred up the wind and clouds. Attack! At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly shouted. He flapped his wings and pounced at Mo He like a black lightning. Emohi's eyes turned cold. Just as he was about to slash out with his saber, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared and enveloped Emohi. His body was frozen in place. The 9 seals of the Gate of God. Seal. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. 5 gates of sealing appeared around Emohi and pressed down on him. Break! Emohi roared madly. His demonic chi burst out and turned into a shocking blade light along the demonic blade, bombarding the transparent bubble. The transparent bubble rumbled and shook violently. It only lasted for a breath before it shattered. The transparent bubble burst, and the 5 sealing gates pressed down. Slash! Emohi struggled with all his might, and the saber radiance broke through the air. The 5 sealing gates were also broken one by one. However, at this moment, Lu Ming had already appeared not far from Emohi. Godly sword technique. 2 rays of black light shot out from Lu Ming's eyes. Like 2 divine swords, they shot into Emohi's body and went straight to his spiritual god. Spiritual god Emohi trembled, and his aura became unstable. Primal Chaos Sky-turning seal. Die! Lu Ming roared. In the sky, a huge chaos seal, like an ancient divine mountain, pressed down on Emohi, bringing with it waves of terrifying air. Even Emohi's pupils shrank when he saw the might. He couldn't ignore it. Break, die! Emohi roared. His entire body seemed to have turned into a demonic blade as he soared into the sky. Boom! The primal chaos sky-turning seal collided heavily with the demonic blade, producing a deafening boom. At this moment, time seemed to have frozen. Watch me! Dandan cried out as her body flew out and flew above the chaos sky-turning seal. Her body rapidly grew in size, and dense inscriptions appeared on her entire body. Her entire body seemed to have turned into a mountain, a turtle-shaped mountain, and she stepped heavily on the chaos sky-turning seal. Boom! The weight of the chaos sky-turning seal increased sharply in an instant. The saber light transformed by Emohi was shattered, and the chaos sky-turning seal continued to suppress Emohi. Emohi roared angrily. He raised his palms and bombarded the chaos sky-turning seal. Boom! The primal chaos sky-turning seal was pierced through, but Emohi's body also fell down like a meteorite because of this force. As Emohi fell, there was an opening in the encirclement that they had formed. Chirping. Bubbles screeched and a space-time tunnel appeared. Lu Ming brought Dandan and Bubbles into the void tunnel and appeared thousands of miles away. Then, he flapped his black wings and flew forward at top speed. Buzz! Emohi rushed up into the sky again. His eyes were filled with shocking flames as he roared in fury. Chase! Whoosh! 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 Emohi and the other 5 LV7 Martial Royal Realm experts turned into 6 demonic lights and chased after Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a pile of raw gemstones and devoured them to recover his essential core. At the same time, he increased his speed to the maximum and fled at top speed. He knew that the attack just now could not do anything to Emohi. Emohi's combat strength was too powerful. Just now, Emohi had underestimated his opponent and was caught off guard by Lu Ming. Lu Ming had used Dandan and Bubbles to launch a series of attacks. In the end, he had used the Chaos Sky-turning seal, Dandan's power, and the Divine Sword technique to send Emohi flying. However, it shouldn't be able to hurt Emohi. After all, Emohi himself was a top heavens favorite with powerful combat strength. Lu Ming's cultivation base was much lower than his. This was already the limit. Chapter 1477 Wasteland of Death 7 rays of black light, one in front and one behind, streaked across the sky like 7 bolts of lightning. Although Lu Ming had the black wings, coupled with the power of the air-frozen bead, and his speed was amazing, he was at a disadvantage because his cultivation was too low. Emohi and the other 5 7th-level Martial Royal Realm experts burst out their vital essence. With their powerful cultivation, they chased closely behind Lu Ming. Not long after, they had flown a long distance, but the distance between the two sides had not widened, nor had they come closer. Bubble! Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Bubbles cried and opened a space-time tunnel. Lu Ming flew in and the next moment, he appeared thousands of miles away. The distance between them widened in an instant. Damn it, it's not that easy to escape. Emohi bellowed and waved his hand. A treasure flew out. It was a flying shuttle. As soon as it flew out, it grew in the wind and quickly became 100 meters long. Get on! Emohi shouted. The other 5 experts of the 7th rank all flew onto the space-breaking shuttle. Whoosh! The space-braking shuttle glowed and flew out at an astonishing speed. It was much faster than their flying speed and was approaching Lu Ming quickly. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. The speed of the space-braking shuttle was too fast. It was a special tool used by the martial experts of the Yuan continent to travel. Lu Ming's face was gloomy. He used all his strength and flew at full speed, but the space-braking shuttle behind him was still approaching. After a while, Lu Ming had no choice but to ask Bubbles to open the space-time tunnel again to increase the distance between them. Kid, let's see how long you can run. Inside the space-braking shuttle, Emohi's eyes were very cold. Half a day passed just like that. We can't continue like this. Lu Ming frowned. If this went on, Bubbles would not be able to take it and her energy would be depleted. If he was caught up to, he would not have a second chance to escape. A large river appeared in front of them. The strange thing was that the water of the river was black as ink. It was extremely strange. The other side of the river was also a black world. Black soil, black rocks, and even black flowers and trees. Separated by a river, it was like two different worlds. It was extremely strange. However, Lu Ming was only surprised for a moment. He did not stop at all. He flew over the river and headed toward the strange black world. Whoosh! Not long after Lu Ming flew over the river, the space-piercing shuttle appeared. However, it did not continue flying. Instead, it stopped in front of the river. Emohi and the other 5 LV-7 Martial Royal Realm experts flew out of the space-braking shuttle. Emohi then put it away. This brat actually escaped into the desolate land of death, the head of the 6 great forbidden lands of the Azure continent. Emohi frowned and looked at the world on the other side of the river. His eyes were filled with fear. The other 5 people looked across the river with the same fear. The 6 forbidden grounds of the Azure continent were filled with danger, and even saints would die if they entered. The desolate land of death in front of them was even more terrifying. It was the head of the 6 great forbidden lands. No one knew when it had existed. It was only known that it had existed for a long time. According to legend, in the distant past, great emperors had entered it, but in the end, they retreated in fear. No one knew what the great emperor had encountered inside. He only knew that it was dangerous, extremely dangerous. Young Master Emohi, what should we do now? One of the black-robed men asked. Chase him in and kill him. I want to see him alive, and I want to see his corpse dead. Emohi's voice was cold. He was full of confidence. Bringing 5 7th-level martial emperors to kill Lu Ming was supposed to be a surefire plan. With Lu Ming's cultivation, he could not possibly escape. However, Lu Ming had escaped from him. How was he going to explain it to him when he returned? Therefore, he hated Lu Ming to the core and had to kill him. Chase after them? The 5 LV-7 Martial Royal Realm experts' expressions changed drastically. Yes, and it's you guys. Hurry up, or else we won't be able to see that kid's figure. You should know who gave the order this time. If that kid escapes, it'll definitely be fine when I go back. But you guys, you should know the consequences. Emohi said coldly. The 5 7th-level Martial Royal Realm experts' faces turned even uglier. They looked at each other and gritted their teeth. They turned into 5 demonic lights and rushed across the opposite bank of the river, chasing after Lu Ming. Kid, you're just like an ant. You should listen to your fate and be a good ant, but you came to the Tianyu demonic sect. You're a toad lusting after a swan's meat. I can only make you disappear. Emohi looked at the dark world as his cold voice rang out. After Lu Ming flew across the river, he continued to fly at high speed. Below, the terrain was very complicated. There were pits and strange rocks. Moreover, these strange rocks were all black. On the ground, there were many huge ancient trees. However, these ancient trees were black in color. Their trunks and branches were twisted together, making them look very strange. Moreover, the more they flew, the more ancient trees appeared, and they were larger and taller. Ancient black trees that were hundreds of meters tall were everywhere, covering the land. At this moment, Lu Ming realized that there were 5 people chasing after him. These guys are really persistent. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. In the blink of an eye, they had flown tens of thousands of miles, but they were still in this dark world. It seemed that this dark world was boundless. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt a large shadow cast over his head. He could not help but look up. Lu Ming's pupils shrank at a glance. A gargantuan bird had appeared in the sky. The giant bird had a very strange appearance. It had 2 heads and its entire body was pitch black. Its eyes were red like burning red flames. Most importantly, it was too big. When it spread its wings, it covered the sky and the sun. Like a dark cloud, it cast a shadow over Lu Ming and the 5 LV7 Martial Royal Realm experts behind him. Gah! Suddenly, the giant eagle screeched. A shocking gravitational force seemed to burst out from its mouth and envelop the LV7 Martial Emperor Realm expert. No! The LV7 Martial Royal Realm expert screamed in horror. He lost control of his body and flew into the giant bird's mouth. Then, he was swallowed by the giant bird like an ant. Lu Ming was shocked. ALV7 Martial Royal Realm expert was completely helpless against the giant bird and was swallowed. The strength of this giant bird was extremely terrifying. Gah! The giant bird chirped and its eyes were like lightning as it scanned Lu Ming and the remaining 4 7th level martial emperors. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He immediately bent down and rushed to the ground. The ground was covered with black ancient trees that were hundreds of meters tall. They could block the giant bird's vision and help it escape. At the same time, the 4 7th level Martial Royal Realm experts also swooped down and rushed into the ancient black tree, 1,100 feet behind Lu Ming. As expected, as soon as they rushed to the ground, the giant bird cried out and looked around. It didn't continue to attack, but instead soared in the sky. These guys are really not giving up. Lu Ming realized that the 4 7th level martial emperors were still chasing after him. They were running at top speed in the dark forest. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward and cast the wind elemental technique, rushing out as well. Chapter 1478 Danger at every step in the sky. There was a terrifying existence like the giant bird. They didn't dare to fly in the sky, so they could only run on the ground. The ground here was extremely strange. It was full of potholes, as if it had been corroded by something. It was extremely strange. Those black ancient trees were rooted in this kind of ground. Behind them, the remaining 4 7th level Martial Royal Realm experts were shuttling through the forest at an astonishing speed, chasing after Lu Ming. Lu Ming could only escape. With his current combat strength, even if he were to face a 7th level Martial Royal Realm expert, he would not have any chance of winning. He might even be killed, let alone 4 of them. Suddenly, there was a scream from behind. Lu Ming instinctively looked over and saw a 7th level Martial Royal Realm expert stepping on a pile of black mud. The mud immediately emitted a black gas. The expert was hit by the black gas and let out a shrill scream. Then, under the shocked gazes of the others, he was directly corroded and turned into a pile of mud. Nest, what the hell is this place? Lu Ming screamed in his heart and cold sweat seeped out of his face. ALV7 Martial Royal Realm expert had just stepped on a piece of black mud and died. Just now, Lu Ming had also passed by that piece of mud. Fortunately, he did not step on it. This place was filled with danger at every step. The remaining 3 7th level martial emperors looked terrified, but they still chased after Lu Ming. These people. Something's wrong. Why are they so desperate? Why are they chasing after me so reluctantly? Lu Ming had a flash of doubt. If he was just jealous of Xian Yanqing and wanted to get rid of him, he didn't have to risk his life like this. He should have stopped in such a dangerous place. Could it be that he was ordered by some big shot in the Tianyu demon sect to chase after them? Many thoughts emerged in Lu Ming's mind. Not long after, they had covered a distance of more than 1,000 miles. In front of them, the terrain had become even more complicated. There were many mountain peaks and ravines. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, a violent rumble came from a huge canyon. Then, Lu Ming saw a herd of majestic black bulls charging out of the canyon and charging at them. These black bulls were muscular, and most of them were 3 meters tall and more than 5 meters long. Their bodies were completely black as if they were made of iron, and their eyes were blood red, similar to the giant eagle from before. Some of them were even bigger, 4 meters tall, and some even 5 meters tall. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! As soon as the black bulls appeared, they roared and spread out, charging toward Lu Ming and the others. Buzz! A 3-meter-tall black bull appeared on Lu Ming's right. Its 2 horns were like 2 blades as it charged at Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming's body swayed and he dodged the black bull's charge. He then threw a punch. Bang! This punch landed on the black bull and sent it flying. The Black Bull was equivalent to a first-level martial emperor. It could not stop Lu Ming at all and was sent flying hundreds of meters away by Lu Ming's punch, crashing into the wall of a mountain. Crushed stones flew everywhere. Then, the Black Bull shook its head and stood up again. "It's so hard." Lu Ming was greatly shocked. Although he had not used his full strength in that punch, an ordinary LV-1 Martial Royal Realm expert would have exploded and died if they were hit. However, the Black Bull seemed to be fine. Buzz! Buzz! After Lu Ming blasted one away, 2 more Black Bulls charged at him. The strength of the 2 Black Bulls was even more shocking. They had reached the 2nd level of the Martial Royal Realm. Lu Ming threw 2 consecutive punches, sending the 2 Black Bulls flying. However, just like the previous one, it only shook its head and stood up as if nothing had happened. His bones were as strong as steel. Furthermore, more Black Bulls kept charging out of the valley. At a glance, there were at least 1,000 of them, but they still didn't stop. Among these Black Bulls, the weakest one was at the LV-1 Martial Emperor realm. The stronger ones were at the LV-2 and LV-3 Martial Emperor realm. Lu Ming even saw a 6th-level Martial Emperor. Boom! 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 The Black Bull leaped and stomped on the ground, causing the earth to rumble as if an earthquake had occurred. Kill! Get lost! The 3 experts of the Sky Demon sect were also fighting the Black Bull. A black blade light exploded, and a large group of Black Bulls was sent flying. Some of the weakest bulls' defenses were finally broken, and they were cut in 2, bleeding black blood. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! The Black Bulls seemed to have been provoked by the blood and became even more furious. Most of them rushed toward the 3 powerhouses of the Sky Demon sect, many of whom were at the LV-6 Martial Royal Realm. The 3 powerhouses from the Tian-Yu demonic sect killed their way through. The 3 of them worked together and slowly approached Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming was also surrounded by a group of Black Bulls. The strongest one was at the 5th-level Martial Emperor realm. Bang! Lu Ming threw a punch at the head of the Black Ox. His body trembled and he took a few steps back. He felt his fist go numb. What astonishing strength! Every single one of these Black Bulls had astonishing strength. Let's go! Lu Ming cast the Wind Elemental technique and tapped on the head of a Black Bull. Then he charged forward. However, the Black Bulls did not give up and continued to pursue Lu Ming. Some of the Black Bulls even shot out beams of black light from their horns at Lu Ming. Lu Ming spread his black wings and shielded his back from the black light. Buzz! At this moment, an earth-shattering bull's roar came from a canyon. Then, the earth trembled as a giant bull with an astonishing physique charged out. This Black Bull was at least 10 meters tall and more than 10 meters long. It was like a small hill, and it emitted an astonishing aura. Buzz! The Black Bull charged at the 3 Sky Demon sect experts. The 3 experts from the Sky Demon sect were powerful and full of demonic energy. Naturally, they were more attractive than Lu Ming. Bang! The huge Black Bull stomped on the ground with its 4 limbs and instantly crossed a distance of a few thousand meters. Like a small mountain, it charged towards one of the people. Not good. The man's expression changed drastically as he slashed at the Black Bull with a demonic blade. However, the huge Black Bull didn't seem to see it and directly rammed into it. The demonic blade collapsed and the huge bull crashed into the expert of the Sky Demon sect. The expert screamed and was sent flying. He broke dozens of black ancient trees and stopped breathing. He was knocked to death. The strength of this Black Bull was shocking. The other 2 fled in all directions in fear. Buzz! The giant Black Bull roared, and its horns glowed. 2 black beams of light flew out like 2 demonic blades, slashing at the 2 Sky Demon sect experts. The 2 of them blocked with their demonic blades, but they both grunted as their bodies were sent flying. Blood spurted out of their mouths and they were drowned by the countless Black Bulls. Only a few flashes of blade light could be seen, and then they became weaker and weaker. At this moment, the giant Black Bull's gaze turned to Lu Ming. Then, it roared and charged at Lu Ming. Nest! Lu Ming shouted angrily and quickly got Bubbles to open a space-time tunnel, rushing forward for thousands of miles. The path understanding ancient tree that was as tall as the sky seeing that Lu Ming had escaped, the giant Black Bull roared and chased after him. Lu Ming cast his movement technique and continued to move forward. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming discovered that there were fewer and fewer black ancient trees in this area. However, there were wisps of black mist floating in the air. Zzz. His body protection genuine vitality was making a sizzling sound. The black mist was corroding his true essence. Lu Ming quickly cast the Chaos Realm to cover his entire body and resist the surrounding black mist. However, this black mist was extremely shocking. It adhered to the Primal Chaos Domain, and even the Primal Chaos Domain emitted a sizzling sound. What was even more shocking was that even the black wings were the same. The black wings were stuck to the black mist and also emitted the sound of corrosion. It could even corrode the Chaos Realm and holy weapons. Lu Ming's expression turned ugly and he could not help but stop. It was too dangerous to continue. It's actually this kind of aura? On his shoulder, Dandan's expression was grave and uncertain. Dandan, this aura? What do you mean? Lu Ming asked. It's not an aura from this world. Dandan said a vague sentence. Not in this world? Could it be the heaven realm? Lu Ming asked. No. Dandan shook her head, looked up into the distance, and said nothing more. Boom, boom, boom. Behind him, the earth rumbled, and the figure of a giant black bull the size of a small hill appeared. Nest, you're here again. Is there a need to be like this? Lu Ming was speechless. The 5 experts of the Sky Demon sect had died, but this black giant was still chasing after them. This big shot was too powerful. It could easily kill a 7th-level martial emperor. Similarly, it could also kill Lu Ming easily. Lu Ming could only brace himself and continue to run forward. The further he went, the thicker the black mist became. His chaos domain and black wings kept making a sizzling sound. The giant black bull suddenly stopped after chasing for a while. It seemed to be a little afraid. After neighing a few times, it turned around and ran away. This bull has finally left. What's going on? It seems to be very afraid. Lu Ming muttered. Nonsense, of course he's afraid. Little brat, run quickly, go forward, Dandan shouted. Hiss hiss hiss. At this moment, hissing sounds could be heard from both sides. Then, Lu Ming saw 2 disgusting pythons crawling over. There was a giant python on each side. This giant python had 3 heads and its body was more than 100 meters in diameter. What was even more shocking was that his body was in tatters, and black liquid was constantly flowing out of it. It was extremely horrifying. It was a giant python that Lu Ming had never heard of or seen before. It exuded an extremely evil aura and gave off a feeling that it was 10 times more terrifying than the black giant from before. Lu Ming finally understood why the black giant had suddenly escaped. It was because of the 2 giant pythons. The giant python appeared, its crimson eyes staring at Lu Ming. Run! Lu Ming sprinted forward without any hesitation. Hiss, hiss. When the 2 pythons saw that Lu Ming had escaped, they hissed with their 3 heads and twisted their huge bodies to chase after Lu Ming. Its body was 100 meters in diameter and it was like 2 mountain ranges. Lu Ming was like an ant in front of it. Lu Ming's black wings flapped continuously. He completely ignored the black mist and flew forward at top speed. From time to time, he still needed Bubbles' help to escape from the 2 giant pythons' pursuit. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have been devoured by the 2 terrifying giant pythons. After an unknown period of time, the mist around him became thicker and thicker, and the power of corrosion became stronger and stronger. As Lu Ming tried to escape, he had to resist the surrounding black mist at the same time. He had expended a lot of energy. At this moment, Lu Ming was already sweating all over and panting heavily. As for Bubbles, it was almost the same. It was so tired that it was lying on Lu Ming. What is this place? It's so strange. Am I going to die here today? Buried in the snake's stomach? No, I can't die here. I promised little Qing that I'll soar through the clouds with her. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. A light flashed between his eyebrows, and Ming Lian's second body appeared. He took a step forward, and dense inscriptions appeared. As for his main body, it entered the mountain and river diagram, devouring raw stones and recovering. After this period of time, the second body had completely recovered. Moreover, it was a blessing in disguise. His cultivation had improved and he had already lit 4 lamps of mind. The second body hurried on. After a while, when the mental energy fire of the second body was also greatly consumed, the main body appeared and continued to move forward. Hiss, hiss. At this time, the 2 giant pythons suddenly stopped and looked ahead. They seemed to reveal a look of fear, and then directly turned around and slithered away. Lu Ming's heart started to turn cold. He thought of the giant bull from before. Could it be that he had entered the territory of an even more terrifying existence and scared the two pythons away? Lu Ming stood rooted to the ground. For a moment, he did not know where to go. He now knew that this area was a forbidden land full of dangers. Lu Ming, continue forward. Dandan looked into the distance and said, Continue forward? The further we go, the stronger the black mist is. We don't even know what kind of terrifying existence it is. Lu Ming said. At this moment, the black mist caused his chaos domain to tremble. If this continued, Lu Ming would not be able to hold on for long. As for the black wings, Lu Ming had already put them away. Otherwise they might be corroded. Listen to this, Lord, that's right. Dandan said. All right, I'll listen to you this once. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and strode forward. To Lu Ming's surprise, they did not encounter any danger as they continued to move forward. There were no exotic beasts either. After walking for about 1,000 miles, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. He widened his eyes and looked ahead. He seemed to be frozen. That was because Lu Ming saw a scene that shocked him. In front of them, an ancient tree that reached the sky rose from the ground and pierced through the depths of the void. This ancient tree was too big, too tall, and too majestic. It was like the legendary tree of the world, as tall as the sky. On the branches, there were wisps of the great Daos aura, which was extremely mysterious. Lu Ming was tongue-tied. The path-understanding ancient tree. Lu Ming recognized it at a glance. It was a path-understanding ancient tree, a fully matured path-understanding ancient tree. It was said that in the distant past, many top experts would have a path-understanding ancient tree beside them. Lu Ming saw a fully matured path-understanding ancient tree here. A figure was sitting cross-legged under the path-understanding ancient tree. This figure was extremely tall and majestic. Just by sitting there cross-legged, the top of his head broke into the firmament. Clouds and mist curled around his body. His body was even taller than a towering mountain peak. How could he have such a majestic body? However, due to the distance and the black mist, Lu Ming could not see the figure's appearance clearly. He could only vaguely see that there seemed to be two horns on the top of the figure's head, two horns that looked like bull's horns. Chapter 1480 Shocking Battle. It's this guy. It's really this guy. He actually didn't die in the battle that year. Dandan shouted. Lu Ming's heart trembled. Could it be that Dandan knew this figure? Dandan, you know him? Lu Ming asked in a low voice. He was now certain that the two giant pythons had retreated most likely because of this figure. In the depths of this terrifying forbidden land, there was a mature path-understanding ancient tree. Under the path-understanding ancient tree, there was a towering figure sitting cross-legged. It was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. Moreover, Dandan seemed to know him. Nonsense, this king would recognize this guy even if he turned to dust. Dandan muttered, her face revealing an angry expression. He wouldn't be a match for this guy Dandan, right? Dandan was one of the top 10 war beasts, so how terrifying was this towering figure? Lu Ming's heartbeat accelerated. Chirping. Bubbles chirped and looked at the figure curiously. Buzz. At this moment, the towering figure suddenly opened his eyes. Two bright rays of light shot out from his eyes like two extremely sharp divine swords, as if they were going to split the world in half. The towering figure's gaze first landed on Bubbles, then on Dandan, and finally on Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure on his body when the gaze swept over him. He found it difficult to even breathe, as if his body had been penetrated. Strong, too strong. Lu Ming only had one thought in his mind. The figure did not release any shocking aura. It merely swept its gaze across Lu Ming, and Lu Ming could feel a terrifying pressure. It was as if he was facing the entire universe and he could not even think of resisting. Lu Ming had a feeling that the other party could turn him into ashes with a single thought. Roar! At this moment, a terrifying roar came from the void in the distance. It was filled with brutal intent. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze shifted from the path-understanding ancient tree and the towering figure to the depths of the void. There, a huge hole seemed to have been torn open in the space. A huge pitch-black hole floated quietly in the air. It was pitch-black inside, as if it led to the abyss of hell. And that terrifying roar had come from that abyss-like hole. Roar! Roar! Following that, the roars came one after another, getting louder and louder, more and more shocking. The sound turned into a terrifying sound wave and charged out, causing Lu Ming's chaos domain to shake violently. Lu Ming's body trembled violently and he was forced to retreat, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. What a terrifying sound. Lu Ming and the hole were separated by an unknown distance, yet the sound that came out of the hole could still injure Lu Ming. At this moment, the towering figure stood up. As he stood up, his figure became even more majestic, as if he was as tall as the sky. The towering figure flicked his finger and a ray of light flew toward Lu Ming and the others, forming a light screen that blocked them. That terrifying sound immediately disappeared. The towering figure was actually protecting them. It seemed that he really knew Dandan. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Roar! The roars shook the sky. At this moment, Lu Ming saw a shocking scene. Two tentacles suddenly stretched out from the dark hole. These two tentacles were extremely huge, like the tentacles of an octopus. They were pitch black. Two tentacles stretched out and pressed on both sides of the huge hole, supporting it with force, as if trying to let an even larger body behind it come out. Slash. Break. The towering figure coldly spat out a word. The world rumbled as if the great path had been added to them. Two terrifying blades slashed at the two tentacles. However, at this moment, two more black tentacles stretched out from the black hole and wrapped around the two blades. With two bangs, the two blades were destroyed. Bang! Bang! The towering figure stepped forward. His eyes were like lightning, and his body was surrounded by endless light. It was as if the great Tao of heaven and earth was surrounding him. Lu Ming was shocked. What realm was this? The movement of the body and the movement of the great Tao was like the great Tao of heaven and earth. It was his weapon and his slave. This level of cultivation was already unbelievable and had reached an unimaginable stage. Boom! Boom! The towering figure punched out twice. And NBSP, the two pitch-black tentacles exploded, sending black liquid flying in all directions and scattering on the ground. Within the black liquid, wisps of black mist were emitted. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that the black fog and the black mud were formed by the explosion of these tentacles? Roar! And NBSP, the tentacle was broken, and an angry roar came out of the pitch-black hole. The terrifying sound waves caused the space around the towering figure to collapse and turn into chaos. The terrifying sound waves traversed an endless distance and rushed toward Lu Ming and the rest. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently. He felt his blood boiling and a stream of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Dandan, who was on Lu Ming's shoulder, was sent flying. Fuck! This guy is definitely doing this on purpose. Since he wants to protect us, why didn't he isolate the sound waves completely? Some of them even seeped in. This guy is doing this on purpose. He's jealous of me. Dandan shouted and glared at the towering figure in the distance. Roar! And NBSP roars came from the hole and a giant head appeared. The head was covered in scales, and there were 3 eyes on the forehead. 3 eyes! Lu Ming could not help but recall the 3-eyed god he had encountered on a small island in the Heaven Realm during the War of Providence. The giant head appeared, and the 3rd eye between its brows shot out a destructive light toward the towering figure. The towering figure punched out and destroyed the destructive light. At this moment, a few more tentacles reached out from the hole and pressed around it. The huge figure seemed to be crawling out. Get back! The towering figure spoke, his voice rumbling. With a punch, heaven and earth were annihilated by the fist force. And NBSP, the tentacles pressing around the hole, all exploded. The black liquid scattered on the vast land. Some of it even sprayed toward Lu Ming and the rest. Fortunately, the towering figure had set up a light shield for them that blocked the black liquid. Otherwise, it would be a disaster for Lu Ming and the rest. Kill! At this moment, the towering figure let out a loud roar and took a step forward, directly charging into the pitch-black hole. Boom! Boom! A deafening boom erupted from the pitch-black hole. The void collapsed and Lu Ming saw the scene inside through the collapsed void. A massive figure covered in scales appeared, and it bore some resemblance to the 3-eyed god race. And NBSP, however, it was far larger and more imposing than the 3-eyed god race, and it had 8 pitch-black tentacles growing from its back. This figure held 2 giant axes and fought against the towering figure. The towering figure, with a great path on his body, had astonishing combat power. The two of them kept clashing, and the void kept collapsing. In the end, the two of them fought through the void and into the starry sky. Let's have some Emperor medicine and Emperor weapons. The towering figure fought with the ferocious creature and fought into the outer space. However, Lu Ming could still see it clearly. Through the collapsing void, he could vaguely see two figures fighting in the outer space. It was as if it was a projection, and it was very magical. Two huge figures were fighting in the starry sky, and the space was collapsing. Baz! All of a sudden, the towering figure roared into the sky and transformed into a giant heavenly bull. Its two horns were like two divine blades. The towering figure's true form was actually a huge heavenly bull. The sky bull stepped in the air, and with every step, the space collapsed. Baz! The heavenly bull roared and the space turned into chaos. Lu Ming even saw the stars in the sky explode like fireworks. Lu Ming sucked in a breath of cold air. It was too terrifying. With a roar, the stars exploded. What kind of terrifying combat strength was this? Could human strength really reach such a level? Lu Ming felt that with the towering figure's combat strength, it could probably completely wipe out a continent like the Divine Wilderness continent in one move. One move could make the Divine Wilderness continent disappear from the world. This level of combat strength had exceeded Lu Ming's imagination. Is this the fighting power of a great emperor? But even Emperor Tsong and Shakyamuni annihilating soul weren't this terrifying. Lu Ming muttered, "Kid, what do you know? Even though we're all great emperors, there's a huge difference in our battle strength. When I was at my peak, I could kill a bunch of ordinary great emperors with one slap," Dandan said with a smug face. Lu Ming was skeptical about her words. Lu Ming believed that there was a huge difference in combat strength, even though they were both great emperors. However, ordinary great emperors weren't that weak. When he first saw Emperor Tsong and Shakyamuni annihilating Seoul, it was because the two of them were too severely injured. Furthermore, they had been fighting against each other for 60,000 years and were already extremely weak. Otherwise, Emperor Tsong wouldn't have been able to turn the tide of the battle with the help of an absolute saint lightning cauldron. If Emperor Tsong and Shakyamuni annihilating Seoul were at their peak, they would definitely be extremely terrifying. The heavenly bull roared and shattered the stars. The tentacles behind the three-eyed creature also exploded. Then, the heavenly bull stomped on the sky. Its two horns turned into two heavenly blades and slashed out. Two pitch-black blade marks appeared in the universe. From a distance, it looked as if the entire universe had been split. The three-eyed creature roared as it wielded two battle axes to fight against the two heavenly blades. The space around it was constantly being destroyed. If that terrifying attack were to land on the ground, it would definitely be a scene of the heavens collapsing and the earth shattering. In the blink of an eye, the two terrifying existences had exchanged more than a dozen moves. But in the end, the heavenly bull's combat power was stronger. The heavenly bull stomped in the air and destroyed all of the opponent's defenses. It crashed into the opponent's body, blasting a big hole in it. Then, the heavenly blade formed by the horns came down and cut off the opponent's head. But even so, the three-eyed creature still didn't die. It waved its giant axe and left a deep wound on the heavenly bull's body. Baz! The heavenly bull let out a loud roar, and the void collapsed, turning into primitive chaos. Cracks appeared on the three-eyed creature's body, and black liquid flowed out. Baz! Roar! The heavenly bull roared again. The three-eyed creature finally couldn't take it anymore, and its body exploded in the air. But even so, the other party was not dead. His two huge arms held the giant axe and continued to slash at the heavenly bull. The broken flesh and blood, as well as the severed head, wriggled rapidly and quickly fused together, trying to be restored. How could the heavenly bull let his opponent have his way? He stepped forward in the air, and his body glowed. This was the power of the Great Path. The terrifying law of the Great Path enveloped his opponent and began to refine him. Chi-chi. The three-eyed creature's flesh and blood seemed to be engulfed in flames as it was being refined continuously, turning into black smoke that dissipated. You can't stop my realm. You're just a defeated army who's struggling at death's door. Arg. The severed head roared as the third eye shot out a beam of destruction at the heavenly bull, but it was destroyed. The heaven realm is going to be destroyed, and the primordial realm won't be spared either. You're just struggling on your deathbed. When our realm opens up the Great Road and the Great Army strikes, you'll all be annihilated. The head let out another roar. Puchi! The two heavenly blades slashed down, splitting the giant head in half. The laws of the Great Tao condensed, and the three-eyed creature turned into black smoke and dissipated. My realm and my clan will take revenge for me. After a few hours, the three-eyed creature was finally refined. The giant heavenly bull turned back into a human. It stepped out and reappeared under the path understanding ancient tree. An earth-shattering battle had come to an end. However, Lu Ming was shocked and could not calm down. Such an existence should be a peak expert in the world, right? It was truly a world-shattering thought. In a fit of anger, millions of corpses would fall. It was unbelievably powerful. TSK, this old bull can't take it anymore. It took so long to kill such an enemy. It seems that he was also injured in the battle back then. Lu Ming's eyelids twitched as he muttered. Such a terrifying combat power was still not enough? Hey, old bull, long time no see. Did you miss me? Dandan shouted at the towering figure. The towering figure looked at Dandan and a rumbling voice came out. You old turtle, you're still alive. You're quite lucky. Ha ha ha, old bull, you're not dead yet. Who am I? How can I die so easily? Old bull, it's been years since we last met. Give me a gift. What emperor's medicine? Give me 100 or so to use first. Or 8 or 10 emperor weapons will do. Dandan laughed. Lu Ming was speechless. This guy really knew how to demand an exorbitant price. However, Lu Ming was also looking forward to it. He thought that if the towering figure really gave Dandan a few stalks of emperor's medicine, he must find a way to get some. The towering figure seemed to smile. With a wave of his hand, a ball of light flew through the air. However, the ray of light was not flying towards Dandan but towards Bubbles at an unbelievable speed. In an instant, it had arrived before Bubbles. Lu Ming did not see what it was clearly. The bubble opened its mouth and swallowed the ball of light in one gulp. It had a look of enjoyment. Time and space spinel? Old bull, you are really generous. What about mine? Where are my treasures? Dandan's eyes widened. Go. The towering figure said. Hey, wait, my treasure. You old bull. You value your lover over your friends. Are you taking revenge on me for being more handsome than you? Dandan cursed and jabbered on. The towering figure waved his hand and an invisible force surged. Lu Ming felt his body tighten. Then, he saw the surrounding scenery flash past him like a fleeting shadow. In the next moment, Lu Ming realized that he had already left the dark land and was standing on a mountain peak. Revenge, revenge. This old bull is definitely taking revenge. Damn it, he didn't give me anything. Dandan was still cursing and swearing before she looked at Bubbles with envy and jealousy. It's over. After getting the time and space spinel, this little guy's cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. He'll definitely leave me far behind. That old bull really values women. Chapter 1482 Titan Longhorn Heavy Color? Lu Ming was speechless. Could Bubbles be a female? But she was only a few years old. Could she be Bubbles' mother, the legendary space-time spirit mouse? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. However, he was also happy for Bubbles. Looking at Eggy's appearance, the time and space spinel must be extraordinary. Chirping. Bubbles cried out as her entire body emitted a milky white light. That light seemed both real and illusionary, as if space-time laws had enveloped her entire body. She looked at Dandan with a smug expression. This made Dandan so angry that even her turtle shell turned green. Dandan, who is that person? It's that powerful? Lu Ming asked curiously. Lu Ming speculated that the figure should be in existence at the same stage as Dandan. It might even be an expert of the same level. Could it be another one of the top 10 beasts? Who else could it be? Just look at its size. It's one of the top 10 battle beasts, the Titan Longhorn. It was my little brother back then. Dandan curled her lips and said, as expected. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he looked shocked. He had come into contact with a few of the top 10 war beasts. His first bloodline, the 9 dragons. There was also Dandan, who called herself the divine turtle of the world and the head of the top 10. Of course, Lu Ming only heard it and did not take it seriously. Bubbles was the descendant of the space-time spirit mouse. There was also the Dragon Star's bloodline, the Archean dragon-esque elephant. However, none of the people he had come into contact with were the original. They either appeared with the bloodline or were descendants. And Dandan had also gone through nirvana and rebirth. As for the Titan Longhorn beetle, it was the real original body. Although it was said that it wasn't in its peak state and had been injured, the real original body, the legendary one, had earth-shaking combat strength. As for Dandan's statement that the Titan Longhorn was his younger brother, Lu Ming directly ignored it. Dandan would die if she did not boast. How many of the top 10 battle beasts are still alive? Lu Ming muttered. There was no doubt that the top 10 war beasts were the pinnacle of existence in the world. Each of them was forbidden, unique. The old space-time spirit rat had died, and a new space-time spirit rat was born. I don't know either. Dandan's expression revealed a rare look of contemplation and solemnness, as if she was sighing with emotion. Chirping. At this moment, with a cry from Pow Pow, one of its claws pointed forward. Lu Ming looked ahead. Emohi. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. The mountain they had appeared on wasn't far from the desolate land of death. From afar, one could see the pitch-black river. Emohi stood by the river with his hands behind his back, looking at the desolate land of death. Humph, I have to think of a way to get rid of this person. Lu Ming revealed a cold, murderous intent. This time, he was lucky to have survived. It could be said that he was in danger. Lu Ming must take revenge. There it is. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and Ming Lian appeared. Lu Ming's plan was very simple. He would let Ming Lian inscribe a large array to trap Mo He. Ming Lian took a step forward and appeared in a valley behind the mountain. He began to carve a large array. This lord will help. Dandan followed him. How could he miss out on such a thing as scamming and killing people? As for Lu Ming himself, he concealed his aura and quietly approached the big river. The river was very long, and it divided the land into two. One side was the desolate land of death, and the other side was normal land. Lu Ming quietly came to the river and hid himself with the help of a huge rock. He was 100 miles away from Mo He. Lu Ming completely restrained his aura and observed quietly. I wonder how that kid is doing. Are you dead? Mo He looked at the wasteland of death and thought with a frown. I hope those guys can kill that kid and bring his body out. This time, he had been ordered to kill Lu Ming. He was confident that he would bring Lu Ming's corpse back. He did not expect that Lu Ming would escape to the death wasteland. He didn't dare to enter and could only wait here. Time passed by quickly. Very quickly. A day had passed. Why aren't they out yet? Did they all die inside? The desolate land of death is full of dangers. Even the experts of the Saint Realm will die if they go in. A great emperor once went in and came out with a serious expression. It's definitely dangerous inside. That brat has been in there for so long. He probably won't survive. I'll wait for one more day. After one day, I'll go back and report. Mo He thought with a frown. Another day passed quickly. It seems that this kid has died inside. Let's go back. Mo He turned around and stepped on the air, planning to leave. As for the 5 7th level Royal Realm martial artists, they were just like ants in his eyes. He did not care about them at all. You're leaving? The time is still too short, but the great formation that has been inscribed for 2 days should be able to kill this person. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. Then, he circulated his essential core and his body trembled. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Following that, Lu Ming struck a huge rock at the side with his palm, causing it to explode with a loud boom. In the distance, Mo He, who was about to leave, was successfully alarmed and looked over. Lu Ming, you're not dead. Mo He's eyes widened as he roared. Buzz! Lu Ming could not be bothered with Mo He. He pretended that he had just rushed out of the desolate land of death and was seriously injured. He flew wildly into the distance. You want to run? Dang! Mo He shouted angrily and turned into a ray of demonic light, chasing after Lu Ming at top speed. Black wings appeared on Lu Ming's back. With a flap, he flew toward the mountain peak like lightning. When they were about to reach, Lu Ming dashed into the canyon. As for his second body and Dandan, they had already hidden themselves. Mo He did not doubt him. He followed Lu Ming and rushed into the valley. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. Why aren't you running? Do you know that you can't escape? Where are the few from IT on you demon sect? Mo He coldly spoke. Those good-for-nothings are all dead. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You're indeed a piece of trash. You can't even kill a LV2 Royal Realm ant like you. You deserve to die. Mo He said coldly. The demonic chi on his body rolled and pressed toward Lu Ming. Ants? Then, I'll show you the counterattack of an ant. Lu Ming smiled coldly and took a step forward. Buzz! The entire canyon was filled with dense inscriptions, and a large array appeared. Killing formation, you came out long ago? As soon as the formation was out, Mohe's expression changed drastically. He finally understood that Lu Ming had come out long ago and set up the formation here to lure him here. Kill! Lu Ming could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He shouted. In the depths of the canyon, Ming Lian waved his hands, and the formation lit up. Endless sword radiance condensed and charged toward Mohe. You want to kill me with a formation? In your dreams. Break! Mohe let out a long roar, and the demonic chi on his body soared to the sky. Vaguely, he seemed to see a demonic god roaring at the sky. His demonic domain combined with his spiritual body and released demonic blades that destroyed the sword rays that were coming at him. Chapter 1483. Entrapping Mohe. The formation appeared and the inscriptions glowed. In the depths of the valley, the Ming Lian Buddha's forehead glowed with golden light. Golden sword energy formed within the formation. Whoosh! 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 The golden sword radiance swept across and attacked Mohe from all directions. Break! 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 Mohe looked up to the sky and let out a long roar. His entire body was filled with demonic light, and his pitch-black demonic blade swept in all directions. Like an unrivaled demonic god, he had a kind of Binnie's spirit. Wherever the demonic blade passed, the golden sword chi collapsed. Not far away, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Mohe had such a strong combat strength. When he fought with Mohe a few days ago, Mohe didn't even use his full strength. The combat strength that he was displaying now was extremely shocking. Although there were only 2 days, the formation set up by the secondary body of inscription would not have too terrifying a power, but it should not be too much of a problem to kill a LV8 Martial Royal Realm expert. But now it was blocked by Mohe. A superior earth spiritual body. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Mohe's spiritual body should be a superior earth spiritual body. With such a body, his combat strength was extremely shocking. In the entire Azure region, there were countless forces of various sizes, but there weren't many upper-class earth spiritual bodies. Every one of them was a top-tier heaven's favorite, invincible among those of the same level, and fighting against those of a higher level was as easy as eating and drinking. What's the use of a formation? I'll break your great formation. Mohe let out a long roar. His momentum was like a rainbow, and his demonic blade was shocking. With one slash, countless golden sword lights collapsed. Boom! A demonic blade slashed at a valley on the side. The valley trembled and crumbled. The power was shocking. He wanted to break through the canyon and destroy Lu Ming's array. Hee. Then I'll give you another big gift. At this moment, Dandan had already moved from Ming Lian's secondary body to Lu Ming's main Buddha's shoulder. She grinned and inscriptions flashed on her claws. Buzz! In the valley, another large array appeared. This was the great formation set up by Dandan. The formation appeared and formed a huge hammer, which smashed at Mohe's face. Boom! 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 As the hammer fell, Mohe's demonic blade trembled. His body also trembled and he took a few steps back. Then the endless sword chi stabbed down, and the huge hammer smashed down. Mohe's expression was grave as he slashed out a saber radiance. However, it was cut off by the huge hammer. Under the continuous attacks, it collapsed. Haha, smash, 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 smash this bastard to death. No, I'll smash this piece of shit to death. Dandan shouted arrogantly and kept waving her claws. Mohe was finally completely suppressed. He could not fight back and could only defend passively. Whoosh, whoosh. The sword chi was everywhere. Some of them almost chopped off Mohe's head, leaving a bloody mark on his face. A look of fear flashed across Mohe's face. Magical night mirror appear. Mohe shouted in a low voice. A beam of light shot out from between his brows. Then, a pitch-black ancient mirror flew out and suspended above Mohe's head. It sprinkled down a beam of light and enveloped Mohe. The surrounding sword chi and the giant hammer struck the light screen scattered by the ancient mirror. The light screen trembled, but it didn't break. Holy weapon! Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The ancient mirror that Mohe used was a saint weapon. It was normal to think about it. It was normal for a genius like Mohe to have a saint weapon to protect himself. Mohe used his saint weapon to protect himself, giving up his own defense and focusing on exploding. Boom! Boom! The demonic blade swept in all directions and collided with the golden sword radiance and the hammer. The two large arrays began to shake. Kill! Mohe slowly charged in one direction, breaking through the sword Qi and the hammer, and slowly approached the exit of the canyon. If this continued, he would most likely escape. It seems like I've underestimated the strength of a heaven's favorite. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind, but the murderous intent in his eyes grew stronger. Dandan, Bubble, do it. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan and Bubbles. Then, he spread the black wings on his back and rushed towards He with a swoosh. In the process of rushing out, Lu Ming's hands were rapidly forming seals. Primal Chaos Sky-turning seal. A low roar came from Lu Ming's mouth. A great seal of chaos condensed above He's head. With terrifying fluctuations, it pressed down on He. At the same time, Dandan flew out and expanded rapidly. Just like last time, she stepped on the Chaos Sky-turning seal with both feet, making the power of the Chaos Sky-turning seal even more terrifying. The Chaos Sky-turning seal pressed down on He with an earth-shattering force. He's eyes narrowed. He knew the power of the Chaos Sky-turning seal very well. At this time, he let out an angry roar, and the pitch-black ancient mirror emitted 10,000 zhong of demonic light, welcoming the Chaos Sky-turning seal. Boom! With a terrifying boom, the Chaos Sky-turning stamp struck the pitch-black ancient mirror, causing a terrifying blast. At this time, Lu Ming had already rushed to a place not far from He. His eyes suddenly shot out two black rays of light at He. Godly sword technique. The jet-black light was like a divine sword, shooting into He's body and attacking his spiritual god. He felt a tearing pain in his spiritual god, which made his qi and the circulation of his true yuan slow down. At this moment, Bubbles launched an attack. A few space-time blades slashed towards He. At the same time, the two great formations, Endless Golden Sword Qi and the Huge Hammer, also bombarded He. Boom! Boom! He's body trembled violently. Although he tried his best to resist, his defense was finally broken by so many attacks. The scattered light from the black ancient mirror collapsed with a bang. Slash! The black wings on Lu Ming's back were like heavenly blades. They slashed at He, trying to cut him in half. He's pupils contracted sharply. At the critical moment, he moved sideways. Poochie! Blood splattered everywhere. Although He had avoided the fatal disaster, he still couldn't completely avoid it. One of his arms was cut off by the black wing. Ah! He screamed with madness in his eyes. With a furious roar, the blood from his broken arm flew toward the pitch-black ancient mirror. At this moment, the mirror shone with a bright light, emitting a dark red demonic light and a terrifying power. Lu Ming hurriedly used the black wings to shield his body. His body trembled as he was hit by the force and he was sent flying, crashing into the wall. Similarly, the power of the Chaos Sky-turning seal was finally exhausted and it collapsed. It was screaming and shouting as it was sent flying. The golden sword radiance and giant hammer that the formation had condensed were also destroyed. Lu Ming, I'll remember this. The next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you. A furious roar came from He's mouth. The pitch-black ancient mirror exuded a blood-red light, wrapped around He, and suddenly rushed out of the scope of the formation, out of the canyon, turned into a blood-red light, and fled away at an extreme speed. It's a pity that the time is too short, and the power of the formation is not enough. Lu Ming looked in the direction where He had left, feeling a little regretful. If he was given 2 more days to refine the second body, the power of the formation would be even stronger, and he would definitely be able to kill He. Chapter 1484. Dandan leaves. Lu Ming's eyes flickered and he looked toward the valley. One of He's arms was left there, and one of his fingers was wearing a storage ring. Lu Ming revealed a smile on his face. He's arm that was cut off was the one with the storage ring. Circulating his true yuan, he pulled He's storage ring over and held it in his hand. At this moment, Ming Lian's clone walked out from the depths of the canyon. He turned into a ray of light and disappeared into Lu Ming's glabella. The inscription refined secondary body was very rare. It could be considered as one of Lu Ming's trump cards. In the Yuan continent, not many people knew about it. Therefore, Lu Ming would try his best not to expose it. That was why Lu Ming had left Ming Lian in the depths of the canyon to control the array just in case He escaped. In this way, He didn't know about the existence of the Ming Lian clone. In the Yuan continent, experts were as common as clouds and as common as rain. Danger was everywhere. If he could keep a trump card, He might be able to save his life at a critical moment. Lu Ming was very clear about how many dangers he had experienced along the way. Let's leave this place. With a flap of his black wings, Lu Ming soared into the sky and flew into the distance. It was not safe to stay here for long. There might be experts from the Tian Yu demon sect coming later. Very quickly they had flown millions of miles. At this time, Lu Ming's speed slowed down. Lu Ming, stop for a moment. Dandan suddenly shouted. Lu Ming stopped and asked Dandan what was the matter. Lu Ming, I'll be taking my leave now. Dandan muttered. You're leaving? Lu Ming was stunned. Dandan nodded and said, in the past, in that god-forsaken place of the divine wilderness continent, there was no place to go. But it's different here. There are dangerous places and forbidden lands everywhere. But there are also fortuitous encounters everywhere. This is where I roam. I will rise up against the heavens, and if I continue to stay, I will soon be left behind by this little thing. At the end of her sentence, Dandan glanced at Bubbles. Lu Ming was speechless. Could it be that this fellow wanted to leave after seeing that he was about to be shaken off by Bubbles? Lu Ming, you've seen the battle between the creature and the heavenly bull, haven't you? Although the heavenly bull is guarding the place, it's useless. There's more than one gap. The battle will come sooner or later, and it's earlier than I expected. When that time comes, the world will fall apart. If I'm not careful, the entire world will be destroyed. I must improve my strength as soon as possible. Dandan's face was solemn, which was rare, and she said in a heavy tone. Dandan, the battle you often talk about, what exactly is it? Who was the enemy? Could it be that three-eyed creature? What exactly is that three-eyed creature? Lu Ming asked a series of questions. Dandan shook her head and said, your cultivation base is too weak. I can't tell you for the time being. If I tell you, it will only distract you. You only need to know that the enemies you will face in the future are the real enemies, the real terrifying enemies. Some of the enemies you are facing now are child's play, small fights. That battle will be the peak battle. And it may also be the last battle. Judging from the current situation, it will be here soon. So, you should improve your strength as soon as possible. I'm leaving. After saying that, his body turned into a ray of light and rushed into the distance. However, in the next moment, there was a flash of light and Dandan flew back. She looked at Lu Ming with a wicked smile and said, Lu Ming, I'm leaving. Aren't you going to give me some spirit herbs? Get lost. Lu Ming smacked his palm and disappeared into the horizon. Ah, Lu Ming, you heartless guy. Dandan's voice came from afar and then disappeared without a trace. This fellow. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of reluctance. Although Dandan's words were unreliable, she had been following Lu Ming for so many years. From the moment Lu Ming left the Blazing Sun Empire, she had been following him. In the blink of an eye, it had been almost 10 years. If he were to leave now, he would be somewhat reluctant. However, Lu Ming also understood that Dandan was right. If this guy followed him, his recovery would be slower. In a place like the Yuan continent, Dandan might recover faster if she was alone. As for Dandan's safety, Lu Ming was not worried. This fellow was sinister and cunning. Furthermore, he was knowledgeable and would be fine. I need to find a place to enter closed-door cultivation and comprehend it. Lu Ming muttered. The scenes of the battle between the Titan longhorn beetle and the three-eyed creature flashed through his mind. The scene was too shocking. The Titan longhorn beetle had the great Tao on its body. Its every move seemed to contain the truth of heaven and earth and the aura of the great Tao. Lu Ming's chaos domain seemed to throb at the thought of it. However, Lu Ming also noticed something. As time passed, the image of the Titan longhorn beetle in his mind became fainter and fainter. The aura of the great Tao and the touch it had on the great Tao also became fainter and fainter. It would probably disappear soon. Therefore, Lu Ming wanted to find a place to cultivate in seclusion immediately. Otherwise, it would be a waste. With a flap of his black wings, Lu Ming left the place. An hour later, Lu Ming found a hidden place and sat down cross-legged. The scenes of the battle between the Titan longhorn beetle and the three-eyed creature constantly replaying in his mind. Lu Ming's understanding of the chaos realm was rapidly deepening. Time quickly passed. In the blink of an eye, half a month had gone by. At this moment, the chaos domain spread out from Lu Ming's body and spread in all directions. The area it covered was twice as large as before. In the past half a month, The Chaos Domain had rapidly improved and advanced at a tremendous pace. Now, it had even broken through and entered level 3. Third level Primal Chaos Domain. At this moment, the battle between the Titan Longhorn and the three-eyed creature still remained in Lu Ming's mind. However, it had faded and he could no longer sense the aura of the Great Tao. However, Lu Ming was still very satisfied. If he cultivated normally, it would take at least a year or two for his Chaos Domain to break through to the third level. But now, he had only used half a month to break through to level 3. His gains were already very great. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was still at the early stage of the second-level Martial Royal Realm. He had not made a breakthrough. However, with a breakthrough in the Chaos Domain, it was much easier to raise one's cultivation. At this moment, a storage ring appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was Mo's storage ring. During this period of time, Lu Ming had been focused on comprehending and had not had the time to open it. He broke Mo's brand on the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual senses. Lu Ming could see everything in the storage ring at a glance. There were tens of millions of medium-grade raw stones. Lu Ming had made a huge profit. There were also other spiritual herbs and materials. Lu Ming only took a quick glance. There were also a few Emperor spiritual weapons. Finally, Lu Ming's gaze fell on a blue crystal combat sword. This crystal sword was filled with a powerful aura. Holy weapon. This was a holy weapon. There seemed to be water flowing on it. This was a water-attributed holy weapon. Lu Ming guessed that Mo-He was kept in the storage ring because its attributes did not match with Mo-He's. Lu Ming had made a fortune from it. This saint weapon could be exchanged for 1,000,000 contribution points at Dragon God Valley. It could be exchanged for a pile of treasures. Chapter 1485 Yinfeng Revolt, Time to Go Back. Lu Ming put away the storage ring and used his movement technique to continue his journey to Dragon God Valley. 7 days later, Dragon God Valley was in sight. When they returned to the Dragon God Valley, the temperature began to drop sharply. At a glance, the sky was covered in snow. The world was white. Lu Ming flew toward the outer valley. With his current status, he naturally would not stop him. However, he did not notice that when he had just flown into the outer valley, there were a few pairs of eyes that were staring at Lu Ming. Lu Ming is back. He's not dead. Report to young master. A voice rang out. Someone took out a jade transmission talisman and sent a message. Lu Ming flew towards Cloud Dragon Valley. However, he was stopped by a few young men before he could fly halfway. The 3 young men stood in front of Lu Ming and glared at him with hostility. Lu Ming, you still dare to come back? The young man in the middle looked at Lu Ming coldly. Why wouldn't I dare to come back? But why are you blocking my way? Lu Ming frowned. What is it? Lu Ming, let me ask you. You went out to complete a mission with my elder brother, Xulong, and the rest. Why are you the only one who came back? My elder brother and the rest did not. Tell me, did you collude with outsiders and kill my elder brother and the rest at the sight of money? A young man in the middle shouted. Xulong's younger brother? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. No wonder he looked similar to Xulong. Regarding Xulong and the others, I will report to the elders of the Hall of Mission and explain it clearly. Lu Ming said. Explain what? My big brother and the rest must have been killed by you. Now, come with me to the Dragon Punishment Hall and accept your punishment. Xulong's brother shouted. The commotion here naturally alerted the others. At this time, many passers-by came over to watch and discuss. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a ray of light. These people seemed to have planned this long ago. Lu Ming had just returned, but these people immediately knew about it and blocked his way. Clearly, someone in the outer valley had been waiting for his return. The purpose was to wait for Lu Ming to come back and launch an attack. The first person that Lu Ming thought of was Yinfeng. Xulong, Duan Yan, and Fu Xing had been sent by Yinfeng. The Dragon Punishment Hall was the place of law enforcement in the Dragon God Valley. It was possible that there were people from Yinfeng. If Lu Ming went to the Dragon Punishment Hall, his life would not be in his own hands. Why would Lu Ming go to the Dragon Punishment Hall? Get out of the way. I've said that there's something else about Xulong and the others. It has nothing to do with me. Lu Ming shouted coldly. Don't even think about it. You have to go to the Dragon Punishment Hall with me today. Xulong's younger brother's eyes gleamed sharply. He stepped forward and stretched out his hand to grab Lu Ming. "Get lost, die!" Lu Ming shouted and took a step forward. 9 dragons rushed out from under his feet and crashed into Su Long's younger brother. Su Long screamed in pain as his body was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Ming took a step forward. His body was like a fleeting light and a fleeting shadow. He rushed past and flew towards Cloud Dragon Valley. Lu Ming knew that the death of Su Long and the rest was most likely known to Yin Feng and the rest. They were waiting for Lu Ming to come back, slander him, and deal with him. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived at Cloud Dragon Valley. Senior brother Lu. At the entrance of Cloud Dragon Valley, 2 ordinary disciples bowed to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded at the 2 of them and continued to move forward, walking into the depths of Cloud Dragon Valley. He wanted to find the Cloud Dragon Valley Master or Long Yuan Mountain to explain the mission. However, before they could go far, they heard a commotion coming from the entrance of the valley. "Get Lu Ming to come out!" A furious roar was heard. "He's really fast!" A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He turned around and walked toward the entrance of the valley. At the entrance of Cloud Dragon Valley, a group of people were blocking the way. Su Long's brother was among them. Yin Feng was also among them. Behind him was a large group of people. Some of them were wearing golden dragon robes and had an imposing aura. They were obviously from the Dragon Punishment Palace. At this moment, 2 Cloud Dragon Valley disciples stood in front of the crowd. "Everyone, this is Cloud Dragon Valley. Those who are not from Cloud Dragon Valley are not allowed to enter." A disciple said. "Get Lu Ming out here." He colluded with outsiders and took advantage of the mission to murder his fellow disciples. He has committed a heinous crime and must be arrested and brought to the Dragon Punishment Hall for interrogation. Yin Feng coldly said. "Everyone, senior brother Lu Ming is the Valley Master's direct disciple. Even if something were to happen, the Dragon Punishment Hall's elders would have to inform the Valley Master first, and the Valley Master would then come forward to investigate the matter." A Cloud Dragon Valley disciple said. "There's irrefutable evidence of Lu Ming killing his fellow disciples. There's no need to trouble Cloud Dragon Valley Master. Just bring him to the Dragon Punishment Hall. Get lost. Let us go in and capture Lu Ming." Yin Feng berated. "No, you can't barge into Cloud Dragon Valley." 2 Cloud Dragon Valley disciples tried to stop him. "Get lost." Behind Yin Feng, a burly young man shouted angrily and struck out with his palm. The 2 Cloud Dragon Valley disciples groaned and fell back. A trace of blood seeped out of the corner of their mouths. Today, Lu Ming must go to the Dragon Punishment Hall and accept his punishment. Yin Feng berated. "You guys are looking for me?" A cold voice was heard and Lu Ming's figure appeared in a flash. "Lu Ming!" Yin Feng's eyes focused. "Yin Feng, you're getting bolder and bolder. You brought people to break into Cloud Dragon Valley and even injured our disciples. It seems that you really don't respect Cloud Dragon Valley." Lu Ming said coldly. "Lu Ming, we're here to capture you. You were hiding in the Cloud Dragon Valley. We had no choice but to barge in." "Lu Ming, it's good that you've appeared. Did you collude with outsiders to kill Su Long, Duan Yen, and the other 2? Yin Feng started to quibble and then asked Lu Ming directly. "Duan Yen, I didn't kill Fu Xing and the others." Lu Ming said indifferently. "You're still trying to deny it?" "Lu Ming, let me tell you, I've personally led my men to the Feng residence and found the corpses of Duan Yen, Fu Xing, and Su Long in a cave. Su Long was clearly killed by you, and that was clearly the cultivation technique you used. Also, your aura still remains on Su Long's corpse. Are you still going to say that you didn't kill him?" Yin Feng shouted coldly. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. It seemed that Yin Feng really hated him to the core and wanted him dead. He had actually sent someone to the Feng family to investigate. Su Long had indeed been killed by Lu Ming's Chaos Domain and the prison-suppressing heavenly technique. But at that time, Su Long wanted to kill him, so he naturally had to kill him. Now, Yin Feng had caught on to this point. "Yes, I did kill Su Long," Lu Ming said. This made many people's hearts tremble. Yin Feng revealed a look of ecstasy and shouted, "Everyone, you heard it, right? Lu Ming himself admitted that he killed Su Long. How can such a vicious person who harmed his fellow disciples be allowed to live in this world? Today, the Dragon Punishment Hall must kill this person and avenge Su Long and his fellow disciples. The Dragon Punishment Palace will not let him off for killing his fellow disciples." Behind Yin Feng, a young man from the Dragon Punishment Palace Hall coldly said. Because I am strong. Lu Ming looked at Yin Feng and the rest coldly. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile as he said, I killed Su Long because Su Long wanted to kill me first. Do you think I can't fight back and let him kill me? Lu Ming's voice was heard and everyone fell silent. Nonsense. Su Long has no enmity with you. Why would he want to kill you? Ridiculous. Yin Feng scolded. Do I have to ask you this? Lu Ming looked at Yin Feng and sneered, as if he was implying something. Yin Feng's expression changed slightly, then he sneered. Lu Ming, Su Long is dead. You can say whatever you want since the dead can't testify. However, you can't change the fact no matter how much you say. The fact is that you killed Su Long with your own hands. The evidence is irrefutable. You can't change that. You must accept your punishment. Yin Feng, why are you in such a hurry? Since you all want to know the truth, I'll tell you. Lu Ming glanced at Yin Feng indifferently and said, that time, when we were on a mission, we met a strong enemy. Duan Yen, Fu Xing, and Zhang Kong were all killed by the strong enemy. Su Long even surrendered to the enemy and was controlled by the enemy. He wanted to kill me, so I killed him. Lu Ming briefly explained the mission. Nonsense. As far as I know, Duan Yen and Fu Xing are both at the LV3 Martial Emperor realm, while Su Long is at the LV4 Martial Emperor realm. You met a strong enemy and both of them died, but you, a mere ant from a savage island, survived. Isn't that ridiculous? Do you really think we're fools? Yin Feng sneered. You're not an idiot. You're an idiot. Lu Ming said indifferently. You? Yin Feng's expression was ugly. Let me tell you. There's only one reason why they're dead and I'm not. It's because I'm strong. Lu Ming said loudly. Because I'm strong. It was a very simple reason, but it explained everything. Why did Su Long and the rest die but Lu Ming did not? It was because Lu Ming was strong and he was stronger. That was why he did not die. Ha ha ha, you're strong? Su Long's cultivation is at LV4 Martial Emperor realm. You're just an ant from a savage island who has just broken through to the Martial Emperor realm not long ago. How dare you say you're strong? What a joke. I'll see how strong you are. Men, take him down. Yin Feng shouted. As soon as Yin Feng's voice fell, two young men from the Dragon Punishment Hall rushed out from behind him. Each of them held a dragon lock chain in their hands as they pounced on Lu Ming and shouted, Surrender! Get lost! Lu Ming shouted and took a few steps forward. The 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps burst forth, and the earth trembled. The ground trembled like waves, and a terrifying force surged toward the 2 youths of the Dragon Punishment Palace. Boom! Boom! The 2 young men of the Dragon Punishment Palace were shocked. They spat out a mouthful of blood and were sent flying. So strong! Many people were shocked. With just a few steps, Lu Ming had injured 2 third-level Martial Royal Realm youths of the Dragon Punishment Hall. His combat strength was shocking. How dare you resist arrest? You're courting death. Someone shouted from behind Yin Feng. A few figures rushed out with violent auras. Before they even arrived, their powerful chi swept towards Lu Ming like a gale. The 4th level of the Martial Emperor realm. The 3 LV4 Martial Royal Realm experts pounced toward Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming's eyes were like lightning. He shouted and swung his fists continuously. Boom! 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 The fist force seemed to be able to penetrate the void and hit the 3 4th-level Martial Royal Realm youths. The terrifying fist force instantly shattered the attack and defense of the 3 Dragon Punishment Halls. The 3 of them were sent flying like kites with broken strings. They flew out of the Cloud Dragon Valley and fell heavily on the ground. Gasps could be heard at the scene. With one move, 3 LV4 Martial Royal Realm experts of the Dragon Punishment Hall were injured and sent flying. What kind of combat strength was this? Su Long, a LV4 Martial Emperor Realm martial artist, is nothing. At this moment, they recalled what Lu Ming said earlier. Because I'm strong. That's right. Lu Ming was strong. Hence he did not die, but Su Long and the rest did. Damn it, damn it. Yin Feng roared in his heart, and his eyes were filled with jealousy. Lu Ming had become stronger after not seeing him for a while. How did an ant from a savage island become so strong? This caused a chill to appear in the depths of Yin Feng's heart. The stronger Lu Ming was, the greater the danger he would be in. He must not let Lu Ming grow. This man is lawless and has harmed his fellow disciples. He's like an evil demon. Now, he even dares to injure the people of the Dragon Punishment Hall. He deserves to be killed. Everyone, I suggest that we kill him on the spot as a warning to the others. Yin Feng's voice was heard. That's right, kill him on the spot. A cold voice rang out. More than a dozen experts of the Dragon Punishment Hall rushed out from behind Yin Feng, and their powerful auras burst out. 2 of them were at the peak of the 6th level martial royal realm, while the rest were at the 5th and 4th levels. So many experts wanted to kill Lu Ming here and now. Kill! A youth at the peak of the 6th level martial emperor realm shouted and pounced toward Lu Ming like a true dragon. His violent aura pressed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The cultivation of a peak LV6 martial royal realm expert was much higher than his. Just as Lu Ming was about to go all out, a white figure suddenly appeared in front of him and threw a punch at the youth at the peak of the 6th level martial emperor realm. The fist wasn't big, but it exuded a domineering aura that could destroy everything. Boom! The arm of the youth at the peak of the LV6 martial royal realm exploded. He flew back for thousands of meters and fell heavily on the ground. Boom! Boom! Then, the figure threw a dozen punches in a row. The dozen experts of the Dragon Punishment Palace were sent flying with blood-curdling screeches. Let's see who dares to be impudent in Cloud Dragon Valley. A delicate voice rang out. 8th Senior Sister. Lu Ming was stunned. The person who had suddenly appeared and dealt a heavy blow to the Dragon Punishment Hall's experts was Lu Ming's 8th Senior Sister, Xueqi. That Snow Dragon. Little junior brother. Are you all right? Xueqi asked with concern. I'm fine. Lu Ming shook his head. You. What are you doing? How dare you injure so many people of the Dragon Punishment Palace? How dare you? Yin Feng pointed at Xueqi and scolded. Shut up. Xueqi shouted angrily. Her face was covered with a layer of frost. You've trespassed Cloud Dragon Valley and captured my junior brother. If you take one more step forward, I won't just hurt them. I'll break your dog heads. An ice-cold killing intent emanated from Xueqi's body. Many people swallowed their saliva. So domineering. If they took one more step, she would directly smash their dog heads. This was lawless. Lu Ming could not help but touch his nose. He did not expect this senior sister to be so overbearing. He suddenly felt that he was too kind. Xueqi, the Dragon Punishment Hall handles matters impartially. Your junior brother has killed a fellow disciple, and the evidence is irrefutable. He must be brought to the Dragon Punishment Hall to be punished. A young man from the Dragon Punishment Hall beside Yin Feng spoke. A shocking aura emanated from his body. 7th level martial emperor realm. The powerful Xueqi this time. Even a LV7 martial royal realm expert had been dispatched. It could be seen how strong Yin Feng's desire to kill Lu Ming was. Killing fellow disciples? What a joke. My junior brother just killed a good-for-nothing. What's the big deal? It's just a waste of resources to keep such a good-for-nothing in Dragon God Valley. It's better to kill him earlier. Xueqi said coldly. Many people were dumbfounded. What kind of logic was this? This was really too overbearing, too arrogant. You, the LV7 martial royal realm expert and Yin Feng were both stunned. They did not know what to say to Xueqi. It was completely unreasonable. Now get lost. Otherwise, I'll throw them out one by one. Xueqi scolded. Xueqi, it seems that you must interfere today. Then, I will take you down as well. The 7th level martial royal realm expert said coldly. A powerful and terrifying aura burst out and pressed toward Xueqi. Boom! Xueqi's body also exploded with a powerful aura. The 5th level of the martial emperor realm. Everyone could see that Xueqi's cultivation was at the LV5 martial royal realm. However, her powerful aura was extremely shocking. She could actually contend with a LV7 martial royal realm expert. Thousand Mountain Fist. Kill. Die. The LV7 martial royal realm expert suddenly shouted and stepped forward, throwing a punch at Xueqi. With a punch, it was as if a heavy mountain had appeared in the sky, pressing down on Xueqi. Roar! At this moment, a dragon's roar came from Xueqi's body, which made her aura even stronger. Xueqi also threw out a punch. With a punch, Xueqi's fist seemed to have turned into ice, emitting a terrifying cold air. Boom! Xueqi's fist clashed with the heavy mountain. A terrifying explosion sounded at the scene. Then, the mountain was directly frozen and exploded. Waves of terrifying cold currents spread in all directions. The temperature at the scene dropped sharply. Some of the people with low cultivation levels shivered and were covered in a layer of frost. The LV7 Martial Royal Realm expert and Xueqin's bodies trembled at the same time and they retreated. So strong. What a freak. A thought flashed through many people's minds, and they looked at Xueqi in shock. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with surprise. Xueqin's combat power was beyond his imagination. Xueqi, who was only at the 5th level of the Martial Royal Realm, was able to fight against a LV7 Martial Royal Realm expert. It should be known that a LV7 Martial Royal Realm expert was already a high-level Martial Royal Realm expert. Her combat strength was absolutely shocking and had stepped into another level. In a sect like Dragon God Valley, a high-level Martial Royal Realm expert was considered a middle-rank power. Again! Xueqi stepped back, her eyes filled with excitement. A dragon's roar came from her body, and above her head, a white snow dragon's shadow could be seen. This senior sister really likes to fight. Lu Ming could not help but think this way. He recalled the first time he met Xueqi, when Xueqi threw a punch without saying anything. Stop! Right at this moment, an elder suddenly appeared in the sky. His powerful aura filled the entire area, causing everyone to feel a terrifying pressure. A sage. Without a doubt, the elder in the sky was a saint. This old man was wearing a long golden dragon robe, which was almost the same as the ones worn by the people of the Dragon Punishment Palace. An elder of the Dragon Punishment Palace. This subordinate pays his respects to the elder. As expected, the youths of the Dragon Punishment Hall saluted the old man. The others followed suit. When the Dragon Punishment Palace's elder arrived, Xueqi and the LV7 Martial Royal Realm expert naturally stopped fighting at the same time. What's going on? The Dragon Punishment Palace's elder asked with a frown. Previously, he had been informed that many experts of the Dragon Punishment Palace had gathered in Cloud Dragon Valley. He had immediately rushed over and just happened to see the scene of Xueqi fighting with the experts of the Dragon Punishment Palace. Elder, Im Feng, the grandson of the master of Silver Dragon Valley. Feng reported his name first and then said, "It's like this. Lu Ming killed his fellow disciples and plotted to seize their treasures. He's guilty of the most heinous crimes. The senior brothers of the Dragon Punishment Hall and I are about to arrest him." Killing fellow disciples? A cold glint flickered in the Dragon Punishment Hall's elder's eyes. He looked at Lu Ming and said, "Is there such a thing? Yinfeng's mouth is like a dog's. He's just randomly biting people." Lu Ming said indifferently. "Lu Ming, what did you just say?" Feng glared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually dared to call him a dog. "Dog, silver dog," Lu Ming said calmly. Feng's face turned green with anger. He cupped his fists at the Dragon Punishment Palace's elder and said, "Elder, there is irrefutable evidence that this man has killed his fellow disciples. I have already sent someone to collect the evidence. I hope that elder will handle this matter impartially. Otherwise, I'm afraid that the others in Dragon God Valley will be disappointed." "Lu Ming, what do you have to say?" The elder of the Dragon Punishment Hall looked at Lu Ming. "Of course I have something to say, because Xuelong is being controlled by someone." Following that, Lu Ming explained the mission of this trip. This time, it was more clear than the previous time. Of course, Lu Ming had skipped over some important points or modified them slightly. For example, when Elder Mo Hun chased after Lu Ming used the prison-suppressing steel to destroy his physical body. Lu Ming did not mention this. He only said that the other party was seriously injured and could not catch up with him. "What did you just say? Evil spirit?" When Lu Ming finished speaking, a terrifying aura emanated from the Dragon Punishment Hall's elder, and a hint of fear appeared in his eyes. "Yes, elder." Lu Ming bowed, but he was shocked. When Lu Ming mentioned the evil spirit cult, the elder's eyes were filled with fear. This fear was similar to Xuelong's back then. It was from the bottom of his heart. He looked around and saw that many of the Dragon God Valley disciples had a look of fear in their eyes after hearing about evil spirit. An elder of evil spirit? An elder of evil spirit is still alive? Could it be that evil spirit is going to rise from the ashes? The Dragon Punishment Palace's elder muttered to himself as the fear in his eyes grew. "Lu Ming, you're talking nonsense. The evil spirit cult was annihilated by the combined forces of countless forces on the mainland 80,000 years ago. What elder of the evil spirit cult? He's been alive for 80,000 years. That's all bullshit. The dead can't prove anything now. You can deny it however you want. Yin Feng shouted as his eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Today, he had to take this opportunity to kill Lu Ming, or at least cripple his cultivation. Lu Ming, do you have any witnesses for everything you've said? Do you have any evidence to prove that everything you said is true? Can you prove your innocence? The Dragon Punishment Hall elder took a deep breath to calm himself down and looked at Lu Ming again. The evidence is very simple. There are still many people alive in the Feng family, so there must be someone who knows the inside story. Find the Feng family and ask them. Then, you will know whether what I said is true or not. Lu Ming said. I'm so scared, hee. At this moment, Yin Feng sneered and said, I don't think we need to go to the Feng family. I've already brought people there, but they found out that the Feng family has been massacred. Not even a chicken or dog was left. At this point, Yin Feng's cold eyes looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you're so ruthless and decisive. You didn't leave any evidence behind. The unspoken meaning was obvious. Yin Feng was referring to the fact that Lu Ming had annihilated the Feng family. The Feng family had been exterminated. Lu Ming looked at Yin Feng, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. Needless to say, the Feng family's destruction was definitely Yin Feng's doing. He was afraid that Lu Ming would find the Feng family to testify for Lu Ming. What a ruthless method. In order to deal with Lu Ming, he directly exterminated the Feng family. Now, he was slandering Lu Ming for exterminating the Feng family. The corners of Yin Feng's mouth curled into a cold smile as he looked at Lu Ming mockingly. Humph, let's see how you're going to prove yourself. Yin Feng sneered in his heart. Yin Feng, you've really put in a lot of effort to deal with me. You've annihilated the Feng family, destroyed the evidence, and framed me. I know you hate me. Back then, I stepped on your face 9 times in front of everyone. In the Emperor Tsong mystic realm, I beat you until you knelt in front of me. It is understandable that you hate me and want to take revenge on me. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He pushed all the blame back to Yin Feng in a casual manner. Yin Feng had framed him in order to take revenge on him. You're talking nonsense. Yin Feng's face was extremely gloomy. Nonsense. Many people saw it. How am I talking nonsense? If you have the ability, kill all these people. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The Dragon Punishment Palace's elder also frowned. Lu Ming and Yin Feng both had their own reasons. He did not know who to listen to. Elder, Yin Feng hired his fellow disciples and tampered with the mission. He wanted Su Long, Duan Yen, and the others to kill me during the mission. After that, he massacred the entire Feng family and framed me. This person is insane and must be severely punished. Lu Ming cupped his fists at the elder of the Dragon Punishment Hall, turning the tables on Yin Feng. You're talking nonsense. This is slander, slander. Yin Feng roared. Slander? If you want to know the truth, it's very simple. As long as I capture you and search your soul, the truth will naturally be revealed. Lu Ming said as he strode toward Yin Feng. What do you want to do? You want to kill me? Yin Feng shouted. Stop. A figure stepped forward and stood in front of Lu Ming. It was the 7th level Martial Royal Realm youth from the Dragon Punishment Hall. Your opponent is me. Xueqi appeared and threw a punch at the young man from the Dragon Punishment Palace. The 7th level Martial Royal Realm youth had no choice but to fight Xueqi. As for Lu Ming, he continued to step toward Yin Feng. Attack, attack, kill this person. Yin Feng shouted. Buzz, buzz, buzz. One by one, the young men who had followed Yin Feng pounced on Lu Ming. Get lost, die! Lu Ming roared and his black wings appeared. With one flap, 5 to 6 young men spat out blood and were sent flying. In the air, the elder of the Dragon Punishment Hall raised his eyebrows. He was about to stop them, but at this moment, a voice entered his ears, making him stop. Bang! Lu Ming cast the wind element art. He took a step forward and his speed increased dramatically as he rushed toward Yin Feng. Go back! Kill! There were at least a dozen young men charging toward Lu Ming. Some of them were even at the peak of the 5th level Martial Royal Realm. Buzz! And NBSP, the 3rd level Primal Chaos domain, spread out, enshrouding the youths within. These youths immediately felt a terrifying pressure press down on them, and their bones threatened to break. Some of the weaker ones sprawled on the ground and vomited blood. Then, Lu Ming threw a punch. A terrifying fist force burst out and sent a few martial artists at the peak of the martial emperor realm flying. Many people gasped. Lu Ming was only at the second level of the martial royal realm, but even an expert at the peak of the fifth level was no match for him and was sent flying. Lu Ming's figure was as fast as lightning as he approached Yin Feng. Yin Feng's face turned pale as he frantically retreated. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so bold as to capture him and search his soul. If he searched her soul, the truth would be revealed. He must not let Lu Ming take him down. However, Lu Ming's speed was too fast. He was approaching him at an extreme speed. The young man who came with him could not stop Lu Ming at all. "Evil creature, you dare?" At this moment, an angry roar came from the depths of the sky. The voice rumbled like a god. Then, a huge hand reached down from the clouds and grabbed Lu Ming. The terrifying pressure froze Lu Ming in place, rendering him unable to move. "Master of Silver Dragon Valley." Lu Ming roared angrily. Lu Ming could tell from the voice that it was the master of Silver Dragon Valley. The dignified Valley Master had actually attacked a junior like Lu Ming. "Yin Zheng, you're really getting worse and worse. You attacked my disciple in front of Cloud Dragon Valley. Do you think I don't exist?" A gentle voice came from the depths of Cloud Dragon Valley. Then, a sword light burst out and slashed at the big hand. The big hand was directly split into two and then cracked. "Yun Ruoxu." In the sky, a rumbling sound was heard. Then, with a flash of silver light, an old man in silver bubbles appeared. It was the master of Silver Dragon Valley. And NBSP, the master of Silver Dragon Valley, appeared and looked into the depths of Cloud Dragon Valley. In Cloud Dragon Valley, an old man stepped on a cloud. It was the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. "Ming He, do what you should be doing." The Cloud Dragon Valley Master appeared and said indifferently. The meaning was obvious. He wanted Lu Ming to continue taking down Yin Feng. "Junior, you dare?" The master of Silver Dragon Valley looked at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. "I'm so scared." Lu Ming pursed his lips. He flapped his black wings, bringing with him a gust of strong wind as he rushed towards Yin Feng. "Grandpa, save me!" Yin Feng shouted. "How audacious!" And NBSP die. The master of Silver Dragon roared, and a terrifying dragon roar came from his body as a silver-white light shot 10,000 meters into the air with terrifying energy. "Yin Zheng, if you want to fight, I'll accompany you." And NBSP, the Valley Master of Cloud Dragon, took a step forward and suddenly appeared in front of the Valley Master of Silver Dragon, slashing at him with his sword. The strike was plain, but the Valley Master's expression changed. Silver light burst out as he fought with the Valley Master. Boom! The two of them exchanged a blow, and the entire sky seemed to be split open by the sword light and silver light. The vast pressure almost made everyone breathless. Is this the Valley Master's strength? It's so strong. Many people were extremely shocked. "Let's go up and fight. Let's go." The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's voice rang out. He and the Silver Dragon Valley Master rushed into the void and began their battle. On the other hand, Lu Ming continued to attack Yin Feng. The few young men who were protecting Yin Feng were sent flying. No matter how frantically Yin Feng retreated, his speed was still far from Lu Ming's. Buzz! Lu Ming appeared in front of Yin Feng. The Chaos Domain crushed down and Yin Feng spat out a large mouthful of blood. Then, Lu Ming grabbed Yin Feng's neck and flapped his black wings. He carried Yin Feng back to Cloud Dragon Valley. The domineering Cloud Dragon Valley Master at this moment, the battle in the sky had attracted everyone's attention. After Lu Ming took down Yin Feng, he looked up into the sky. The battle in the sky was extremely intense and had already reached the point of turning white. A ball of silver light and a sword light crisscrossed, and a dragon's roar pierced through the sky. All of a sudden, the sword light brightened. With a slash, the silver light was extinguished. Then, a figure retreated madly and appeared above everyone. It was the master of Silver Dragon Valley. At this moment, a deep sword wound appeared on the master's chest. The wound went straight to his heart, and he could even see his beating heart. And NBSP, the master of Silver Dragon Valley, was suffused with silver light as his muscles wriggled. He wanted to heal the wound, but countless tiny wisps of sword chi were destroying his muscles, making it difficult for him to heal in a short time. And NBSP, the master of Silver Dragon Valley, paled, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. The crowd couldn't help but gasp with their eyes widened. The Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley had been defeated and injured by the Valley Master of Cloud Dragon Valley. If the sword had been a little deeper, it would have pierced through the heart of the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley. The key was that the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley had been defeated in just a short while. It was obvious that there was a huge difference in their fighting strength. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master descended from the sky, his sword chi soaring into the sky. His entire body exuded a terrifying and sharp steam engine as his dignified voice rang out. You barged into Cloud Dragon Valley without permission. Do you think I'm easy to talk to? Yin Zheng, I'll spare your life this time, but if there's a next time, I'll behead you. You, and NBSP, the Valley Master's face was extremely ugly, but he looked at the Valley Master with fear and disbelief. The others couldn't help but swallow their saliva. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master had always given people a gentle impression. No one had expected him to have such terrifying combat strength. When he was angry, his aura was so terrifying and overbearing. He had even said that if there was a next time, he would kill the Silver Dragon Valley Master. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley was the master of a valley. The point was that the Master of Silver Dragon Valley didn't dare to argue. Everyone couldn't help but re-examine Cloud Dragon Valley. The Cloud Dragon Valley was a newly established dragon valley in the Dragon God Valley. It had the smallest population and had always been regarded as the weakest. But was that really the case? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was simply unfathomable. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master continued, if my disciple is innocent, no one can frame him. Today, I will personally search his soul and see the truth. With that, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master took a step forward and appeared beside Lu Ming. Grandpa! Yin Feng shouted in shock. Yunruoxu, don't go too far. Don't overdo it. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley said. Laughable. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes were cold as he said, enough? You've brought people to my Cloud Dragon Valley. Even you, the Valley Master, have to deal with me, a new disciple. Now, you're telling me to stop? And NBSP, the Master of Silver Dragon Valley, had a gloomy expression and was speechless. The others also shook their heads. That's right. Previously, it was Yin Feng who had led his men to attack Cloud Dragon Valley. He insisted that Lu Ming had killed his fellow disciples and wanted to take Lu Ming away. In the end, when he was no match for the Master of Silver Dragon Valley took the initiative to attack first. They had been the ones who kept pressing. To put it bluntly, Cloud Dragon Valley was just a counterattack. Soul Search! Yin Feng! The Cloud Dragon Valley Master shouted as his palm emitted a ray of light. He then extended a finger and pointed it at Yin Feng's forehead. Yin Feng cried out as his body immediately stiffened and his eyes became unfocused. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master personally began to search his soul. After a moment, a sharp glint flashed in the eyes of Valley Master Void Cloud as he said, Today, I'll let the truth be revealed. With that, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's other hand glowed, and a translucent crystal appeared. Memory Crystal! Lu Ming's heart stirred. A memory crystal was a rare treasure. When one searched the soul, it could project the memories of the person being searched into a picture so that others could see it. The memory crystal glowed, and an image appeared in the sky. In a courtyard, a young man stood with his hands behind his back. It was Yin Feng himself. And NBSP, there were 3 more people in front of Yin Feng who respectfully bowed. That's Su Long. That's right. The other 2 are Duan Yen and Fu Xing. Someone cried out in surprise, recognizing the person in the image. At this moment on the screen, Yin Feng said indifferently, I've already arranged for this mission through a few deacons of the Hall of Missions. All of you will work together with Lu Ming and look for an opportunity to kill him during the mission, no matter what method you use. Yes, young Master Yin Feng, don't worry. I'll make sure that Lu Ming dies without anyone knowing. When the time comes, we just have to push it to the point where he died in a dangerous battle while carrying out a mission. No one will suspect anything. Su Long sneered, his eyes gleaming. Don't worry, young master. They're just LV1 Martial Emperor realm ants. I can kill them as easily as crushing an ant. This matter is definitely in the bag. Duan Yen and Fu Xing spoke separately and then discussed the specific details. At this point, the Master of Silver Dragon Valley looked gloomy. As for the others, they were enlightened. It seemed that Lu Ming was telling the truth. It was all because Yin Feng wanted to kill him. He actually arranged for someone to kill Lu Ming during the mission. Therefore, Lu Ming retaliated and killed Su Long. At this moment, the scene suddenly changed to another scene. This time, it was not about Lu Ming. Yin Feng was planning something else to deal with someone else. Damn it. So my little sister was killed by Yin Feng. To think I still believed him. A young man in the crowd suddenly shouted. His eyes red. Shut up. The master of Silver Dragon Valley glanced at the young man with cold killing intent, which made the young man's face turn ugly. He gritted his teeth, but he didn't dare to say anything. Yin Zheng, what a strong wind. Let's continue watching. The Cloud Dragon Valley master smiled faintly as the image projected by the memory crystal changed again. It was another conspiracy of Yin Feng. After watching it, the scene changed again. Following that, at least a dozen scenes changed. They were all about how Yin Feng harmed other Dragon God Valley disciples and even used his power to humiliate the other female disciples. Ah, my family, it's all Yin Feng. My little sister. At the scene, there were a few angry roars coming from the family members of the people who had been harmed by Yin Feng. In the past, no one knew about it, but now, it was all exposed. Finally, the scene changed to a mansion. Yin Feng was leading his men and massacring the people in the mansion. The Feng clan. Lu Ming spoke. He recognized that this was the Feng family mansion. One by one, the Feng family members fell in front of Yin Feng. Some of them were still old people and children. Some of them did not even cultivate martial arts, but they were all killed by Yin Feng. In the end, not even a chicken or dog was left alive. He burned the Feng family to the ground. Lu Ming, this time, let's see how you can quibble. Let's see who can testify for you. Standing high above the Feng family, Yin Feng's cold voice came out of his mouth. Chapter 1490 Slaying Yin Feng. The truth was out. Previously, Yin Feng said that Lu Ming killed the Feng family and that was a lie. In fact, Yin Feng was the one who killed the Feng family and he pushed the blame to Lu Ming. From the beginning to the end, it was Yin Feng who wanted to frame Lu Ming and harm him. What a vicious junior. He's acting like this just because he has a good grandfather. Hee hee. The Cloud Dragon Valley master sneered. With a wave of his hand, he put away the memory crystal, and the image disappeared. As for Yin Feng, he sat on the ground limply as if he had been drained of all his strength. After a long time, he finally woke up. Grandpa, save me. After he woke up, Yin Feng shouted loudly. Shut up. Shut up. The master of Silver Dragon Valley shouted coldly. I've been in closed-door cultivation all these years. I've neglected to discipline this grandson of mine. Now, hand him over to me. I'll definitely discipline him strictly when I return. Strict discipline? What a joke. Lu Ming's mocking voice was heard and he continued. Do you think you can offset Yin Feng's crime with a sentence of strict discipline? The master of Silver Dragon Valley looked at Lu Ming with cold eyes. Then what do you want? What Yin Feng has done concerns the entire Dragon God Valley. He must be dealt with according to the sect rules. Lu Ming cupped his fists at the Dragon Punishment Hall elder and said, Elder, everyone has seen what Yin Feng has done. He's simply insane and infuriating. According to Dragon God Valley's rules, how should he be dealt with? The Dragon Punishment Palace's elder started to hesitate and mumble. Yin Feng was the grandson of the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley. But Lu Ming was also the legacy disciple of the Valley Master of Cloud Dragon Valley. In addition, there were so many people present. For a moment, he did not know what to do. The Dragon Punishment Palace should handle this fairly. Otherwise, what's the use of the Dragon Punishment Palace? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said coldly. At the scene, many pairs of eyes looked at the Dragon Punishment Palace's elder. In the end, the Dragon Punishment Palace's elder gritted his teeth and said, What Yin Feng has done is truly chilling. He has committed a terrible crime and should be executed as a warning to others. Boom! The master of Silver Dragon Valley's aura went berserk, and a beam of silver light soared into the sky. On the other hand, Yin Feng's expression changed drastically and he shouted, No, no, Grandpa, save me. If I have to, then I'll do it. Lu Ming shouted. His essential core burst forth and condensed into a combat sword. Lu Ming, you dare? And NBS peep die. The master of Silver Dragon Valley bellowed. Why wouldn't I dare? Lu Ming took a step forward and his combat sword cut through the void, slashing horizontally. Yin Feng's head flew far away and blood splattered everywhere. A spiritual god appeared from Yin Feng's body in fear. However, with another slash of the combat sword, Yin Feng's spiritual god let out a miserable shriek and turned into ashes. Fenger! The master of Silver Dragon Valley was furious. A violent killing intent burst out from his body. He stretched out a large hand, trying to kill Lu Ming. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light bloomed from the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's hand. The giant hand collapsed, and the Silver Dragon Valley Master retreated frantically. However, the sword light did not stop. Instead, it grew in the wind and turned into a sword light the size of a mountain, crushing toward the Silver Dragon Valley Master. And NBSP die. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley bellowed in rage. His entire body was enshrouded in silver light as he kept punching. After at least 100 punches, he finally managed to block the sword light. However, there were a few more hideous sword wounds on his body. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley spat out a mouthful of blood, his face pale. So strong. He's really strong. Many people's hearts trembled. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was too powerful. The Silver Dragon Valley Master and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master were both masters of the Dragon God Valley's 7 dragons, but they were not his match. Yin Zheng, next time if you dare to attack my disciple again, I, Yun Ruoxu, will definitely kill you no matter what. Yun Ruoxu said. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's long hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were like 2 divine swords that stabbed at the Silver Dragon Valley Master. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley had an extremely ugly face. Although he had endless killing intent, he didn't dare to continue. He had no doubt that if he really attacked Lu Ming again, Yun Ruoxu, that lunatic, would really kill him. I'm taking Yin Feng's body with me. The Master of Silver Dragon Valley said after a while. Take him away and get lost immediately. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master waved his sleeve. And NBSP, the Master of Silver Dragon Valley, waved his hand and swept Yin Feng's body away. Then, without a word, he took a step forward and disappeared. At this moment, many people at the scene had complicated feelings. In the beginning, Yin Feng came menacingly and brought his men to kill Lu Ming. However, he did not expect to lose his life here. The world changed so quickly that no one could predict. Good kill! Some people roared in their hearts, only feeling very satisfied. Many people knew that Yin Feng used his power to bully others and did many evil things. However, Yin Feng's grandfather was the Master of Silver Dragon Valley, the Overlord of Dragon God Valley. Who would dare to say anything? He was angry but didn't dare to say anything. Now that he was killed, it was really satisfying. There were a few people who knew from the images in the memory crystal that their loved ones were also killed by Yin Feng. They were so excited that they were trembling. Your Dragon Punishment Hall should be properly reorganized. You've been used by Yin Feng. At that moment, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master glanced at the Dragon Punishment Hall Elder. The Dragon Punishment Palace Hall's Elder immediately trembled with fear. He hurriedly said, Valley Master Yun is right. The Dragon Punishment Hall must be reorganized. Then he turned his sharp eyes to the young men of the Dragon Punishment Palace and scolded, You guys, apologize to Lu Ming. The young men were all trembling in fear as they hurriedly apologized to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He did not care about these people at all and could not be bothered with them. There's also the Hall of Missions. Hee, very good. Now, they even dare to tamper with the sex missions. It seems that many people don't take me seriously because I haven't unsheathed my sword for many years. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master sneered. He took a step forward and disappeared. Sorry to trouble you. Let's go back to the Dragon Punishment Palace. The Dragon Punishment Palace Hall's Elder shouted loudly. Then, he led the Dragon Punishment Palace Hall's people and left the place. Soon, a shocking piece of news spread in Dragon God Valley. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master had stormed into the mission hall in a fit of anger because of his disciple, Lu Ming. He had killed several deacons who had participated in Lu Ming's matter on the spot. If the Dragon God Valley Master had not arrived in time, the elder of the mission hall would have been killed by the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. In the end, it was the Dragon God Valley Master who smoothed things over, and the Cloud Dragon Valley Master finally gave up and left. After this incident, Cloud Dragon Valley had a new meaning in many people's hearts. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was too domineering and overbearing. He had injured the Valley Master of Silver Dragon Valley with a sword, killed several deacons in the mission hall, and even needed the Valley Master of Dragon God Valley to come forward to solve the problem. Many people now knew that the Cloud Dragon Valley Master was so powerful. Many of the older generation shook their heads and smiled bitterly. It would be a wonder if that lunatic wasn't strong. However, the madman's sword had not been unsheathed for many years. So many people had forgotten about the Cloud Dragon Valley Master. The Silver Dragon Valley Master deserved it for provoking the madman. It turned out that the madman's sword was not dull at all. Instead, it was sharper. The power of evil spirit in a cave abode deep within Cloud Dragon Valley. Lu Ming stood before the Valley Master. Did you really meet the people from Evil Spirit? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked with a grave expression. That's right. His name is Elder Mo Hun. According to him, he was severely injured 80,000 years ago and has yet to recover. Otherwise, I would have been in danger. Lu Ming said. It must have been 80,000 years ago. Sigh, I didn't expect Evil Spirit to still have remnants. In addition to that, you met Dharma King annihilating soul in the Great Emperor Secret Realm. Is Evil Spirit religion going to rise again? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master sighed as his expression became more and more solemn. Lu Ming was surprised. Why did everyone look so shocked when they heard the name Evil Spirit? Even the Master of Silver Dragon Valley looked frightened. Even someone as strong as his master had such a grave expression. Master, what kind of force is Evil Spirit? What kind of force was it? Is he very strong? Lu Ming asked a few questions out of curiosity. Strong, of course he's strong. If he was at his peak, he could easily destroy the entire Azure continent. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master said solemnly. He can easily destroy the entire Azure continent. Lu Ming was shocked. The Azure continent was home to 13 top-tier sects, each of which had unfathomable power. For example, Lu Ming could not tell how powerful the Dragon God Valley was or how many powerhouses were hidden in the depths of the vast snow mountain. With so many powerful forces, Evil Spirit could easily destroy them. The peak of the Evil Spirit cult was 80,000 years ago. At that time, the Evil Spirit cult was extremely powerful. The Evil Spirit cult was the most famous. They had a cult leader and 2 deputy cult leaders. They were all the peak experts of the Yuan continent. In addition, there are 36 Guardian Kings and 360 Elders. Their strength can be said to be terrifying to the extreme. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master explained. 36 Guardian Kings? Lu Ming's pupils constricted. He thought of Shakyamuni annihilating soul. Master, could it be that the Guardian Kings are all Great Emperor experts? Lu Ming felt that his voice was a little dry. Not bad, yes. The Origin Dragon Valley Master nodded. The Evil Spirit sect has 36 Guardian Kings, all of whom are peerless experts at the Great Emperor level. The 360 Elders are all powerful existences in the Saint Realm. Lu Ming gasped in shock. Evil Spirit's strength far exceeded his imagination. There were actually 36 Great Emperor-level Guardian Kings, as well as a sect leader and 2 vice-sect leaders. This kind of strength was truly terrifying to the extreme. Destroying the Azure continent would be as easy as turning over his hand. Did he actually offend such a powerful force? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. The key is that the Evil Spirit cult was born in a very mysterious way. It seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Then the experts in the Evil Spirit cult also seemed to have appeared out of thin air. Their power expanded rapidly and shook the entire Yuan continent. Moreover, Evil Spirit has a terrifying goal. Their goal is to kill other great emperors and those peerless geniuses who have the potential to become great emperors. 80,000 years ago, they caused a storm of blood in the Yuan continent. The Valley Master said, specifically hunting great emperors and peerless geniuses with the potential to become great emperors? Lu Ming's heart trembled, but he was puzzled. Master, why did Evil Spirit do this? I don't know. No one knows why Evil Spirit is doing this. Perhaps some great emperor-level figures know, but they just haven't announced it. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master shook his head and said, thus, Evil Spirit caused all the forces in Yuan continent to panic. In the end, countless forces, big and small, joined forces to besiege Evil Spirit. According to the records, that battle was extremely tragic. Countless saints died in battle. Even many emperors. But in the end, Evil Spirit was completely annihilated and disappeared from the world. Lu Ming was silent for a long time after hearing the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's words. Evil spirit was definitely a terrifying force. They specifically killed great emperors and those with great emperor potential. He finally knew why so many people were so frightened when they heard the name of evil spirit. Lu Ming thought of many things. He was reminded of his encounter in the Emperor Tsong mystic realm. Emperor Tsong had disappeared 60,000 years ago. The truth was that Shakyamuni annihilating soul had entered the Emperor Tsong's secret realm. Judging from the time, evil spirit cult had already been exterminated. However, it was obvious that Shakyamuni annihilating soul did not die. He had entered the Emperor Tsong's secret realm and fought against Emperor Tsong for 60,000 years. Since Shakyamuni annihilating soul was not dead and Elder Mo Hun had also survived, did evil spirit cult have any other experts who had survived? After 80,000 years, would evil spirit be revived? A wisp of Elder Mo Hun's soul escaped and told Lu Ming to wait for evil spirit's revenge. Was evil spirit going to reappear in the world again? Lu Ming felt a strong pressure on his body. It would be strange if he didn't feel any pressure when facing such a terrifying force. Ming-er, go back and cultivate. I'll report the matter of evil spirit to the Valley Master, and have him inform the other sects for a discussion. Finally, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master instructed. Disciple will take his leave. Lu Ming cupped his fists and left the Cloud Dragon Valley Master's cave abode, returning to his own cave abode. After returning to his cave abode, Lu Ming meditated to regulate his breathing. He then took out a pile of raw gemstones and began to devour and refine them. Now that his chaos domain had broken through to level 3, as long as he continued to refine the raw gemstones, his cultivation would improve. For the next few days, Lu Ming cultivated in seclusion and refined the rough stone. His cultivation level was improving by leaps and bounds. From the early stage of the second-level Martial Emperor realm to the middle stage of the second-level Martial Emperor realm, then the late stage, the peak. 7 days later, Lu Ming's cultivation broke through and entered the third level of the Martial Royal realm. At this moment, Lu Ming finally stopped devouring the refined raw stone. Next, he should focus on comprehending the chaos domain. Lu Ming did not dare to waste any time. In the Yuan continent, he really felt that his cultivation level was too low. He had to improve his cultivation as soon as possible. However, comprehending the chaos domain wasn't something that could be done overnight. He first had to go to the Treasure Dragon Palace to exchange for some treasures. Lu Ming left the cave abode and headed for the Treasure Dragon Hall. Soon, he arrived at the Treasure Dragon Hall and went to the counter where he exchanged for the Myriad Spirit Liquid and Dragon Bones. Senior, do you still remember me? Lu Ming smiled and greeted him. It's you? Little fellow, are you here to exchange for treasures again? The old man at the counter said with a smile. He had a deep impression of Lu Ming. After all, not every first-level martial emperor could have 2 million contribution points. Senior, I need to exchange some treasures for contribution points first. Lu Ming said. Oh, let's take a look. The old man laughed. Lu Ming passed a storage ring to the old man. Lu Ming used his spiritual senses to scan and raised his eyebrows. You're amazing, little guy. A sword saint weapon and 5 king spiritual weapons. Lu Ming smiled and nodded. The bright saint weapons and emperor spiritual weapons in the storage ring were all from Mo He's storage ring. They were of no use to Lu Ming. He might as well exchange them. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.